Right. Oh. Oh, I gotta do the ping. I gotta do the ping. Ping time. Okay. Thankfully, today is not going to be super long that I can tell. It should be pretty chill. Why is it? Oh, that's why. Token expired. There we go, now it's actually connected. Hi Belios, CJ, Brood, Fluffy, Cute Seaf right back at you. You know, I just realized I need to get more. I feel like people have more character songs. Try to add those for next time. How's everything going? How are you all doing? You just ate 3 baked potatoes? Hi, Cece. You made the cookies? What kind of cookies? Not you, Cece. Belios made cookies. I'm curious what kind of cookies. I should go grab the cookies I have. Your stomach hurts? Yeah, I can imagine so. If I ate 3 baked potatoes, I think my stomach would hurt terribly. Red velvet and Oreo? Oh, that sounds so good. That sounds so good. Holy. Oh, I want some. Oh my god. Ugh. I'm feeling like oddly nervous. I don't know why. Not for anything in I'm just feeling general anxiety. I don't know why. Alright, 20th was the last one I read. So we'll start at the 21st. There actually shouldn't be too much. We should be done under 2 hours today. Held message for reason aggression. Do I allow that? I used to be a sleep streamer for people. I would play Stardew Valley like 4 in the morning. People fell asleep to my streams all the time. And if Virgil gets this job that he is interviewing for, please, I can quit my job and I can stream all the time. I don't have to stream at 8 p.m. or 3 a.m. for CJ or whoever. I really hope he does. He already had one interview, a phone interview, and now this is like the in-person interview. So, I'm hopeful. I'm really hopeful. Anyway, we're just gonna go ahead and get started. We do have a audio from Waters. Let me play this.
What scenario?
What scenario, Waters?
Over
The Wave Seeker. You are waked by her. It is true, the attention you give her cut her hole through from her. It is a manifestation of your mind. It is you tormenting yourself. You believe you deserve it.
Not moving.
Waters,
What?
where do you return? If you truly believe that it is not fucking, why do you return?
I need it to help nerves. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do any of this. I need to be free.
Don't want to do any of what? Waters,
I think she did it. He thinks it was the heart who killed Elena. She's too young to be haunted by that kind of feeling. Why did they take her on that mission?
Waters. Focus. What do you not want to do?
I don't know. I don't. I know I've been doing something. There were hours of travel log, and I don't remember a damn second of it. I remember being down. I don't remember why I felt that angry.
This is about Balios.
You are experiencing loss of time.
No, it's not like that. It's just I'm not getting enough sleep or something. And it must be making me paranoid. Disregard that.
Waters,
End scenario zeros
waters.
and leave.
Dude, the voice acting in this one is like peak, super peak. Oh my god, I don't know how you get so much like emotion through whatever. I'm guessing you're using voice mod. Oh my god. Ah. Ooh, I found something. The only way to stop it is to freeze. That's interesting. Listening to this in the car. Hello, other people in the car. I assume you're not on your phone while driving. Freeze. We have to freeze waters. Interesting. All right. We have a frog video. Let me just pause the music altogether so I don't have to listen to it either. What's happening? Taking place last night at midnight. Thank you to everyone being part of this video. Here we go. Sorry, flashbang. Don't worry, we're getting to that. Ooh. Dude, there's so much peak going on, and I haven't spoiled myself for anything because I really want to just experience it all, you know?
Attention. Situation has been detected at SUNC in the lower labs. Please report to SUNC lower labs.
Oh?
Huh?
Attention. Situation has been detected in SUNC lower labs. Please report to SUNC
Or like
lower
little
labs.
Is that the comms device? Wait, that's so cute. I love that. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. What if I make like a thing you can have in game that is the comms device that would have different features? I feel like that would be kind of fire. I don't know what features it would have.
I don't know where that is.
SUNC.
You found a mod that's for servers. I don't know if it works for... Oh, that has like a little thing. So next season we are incorporating voice chat because I found one that connects with Geyser and Discord. So we can have voice chat in Discord. It'll just move you into different channels, I think, or something. Automatically. Because the problem was it would be Java only if it was simple voice chat. But I found one that uses Discord. So, hopefully, next season, we will have voice chat. I still gotta test it. We'll see.
In the water. You work there as an employee.
Right.
Go to SUNC, and I will take you to the room.
Yeah, proximity.
What direction is that? I can't even remember right now. Oh.
I know it'll be so because like okay, this season I focused on like making mini games and like the lobby and like all this stuff that like people didn't use. I've learned my lesson. People do not care about video games. They don't care about mini games. They don't care about any of that. They want roleplay stuff. So next season I am focusing heavily on everything that will help people roleplay to the max, you know? Stuff like that. Custom items, all sorts of things. Anyway, sorry, I gotta stop pausing.
Is it this way, Sarah?
No.
No. Which direction do
No.
This way.
Right.
Bob, I would kill everyone.
Right. Forward.
Okay.
Oh, that's serious. Sierra's just like so sassy.
Okay, hold on. I'm gonna use the bridge, Saros.
Understood.
In character VC for when we're in character? I think we have an in character VC. It's called like in character only. Yeah, in character only. There's lore. There's also frog video recording.
And I just keep going forward.
Forward. Into the water.
Okay.
Not the comms device being like, help!
What is that?
That is the company for Find the Waters, Living Quarters.
Oh, okay.
It's begging for mercy. My phone after I take it in the shower. It is such a long swim.
You have arrived at SUNC.
Okay.
Undertale music? Let's go.
Where do I go now?
Click the stairs down, and then the elevator down.
Just all the way down?
All the way.
Okay.
Next elevator down.
I wish I could write music like Toby Fox.
Here?
There.
Okay.
Tried speeding it, but it looked weird.
Okay, where
Click
now?
the elevator down. On your right or left. On your left.
On my left. That's up.
I'm guessing you were doing this like
That?
live in game,
Yes.
Okay.
which makes it so funny.
How far down?
Myth just being
All the
like,
way.
please down, right, no, your other right.
There's a donkey.
That's subjective.
Okay. Do I go through
Yeah,
the
subject.
Yes.
I love zeros.
door? Okay. Okay, which door?
Front.
Front?
Oh, stream POV, that's great. That's brilliant, honestly.
To the right.
This facility is like
Oh!
endless. Freezing temperature. Freeze! You gotta freeze
Waters.
waters! Oh,
Waters?
Director Waters is currently frozen. Please take Director Waters to the medical bay.
Okay.
Upstairs, the door on the right.
also, I'm hoping to have a plugin that will allow for custom player animations and possibly custom player models. But that might be a Java only thing. But the custom animations, I think, would work. Which would hopefully help with stuff like this, like being able to like drag people. Don't get everyone's hopes up with things we can't confirm. Well, I'm hopeful. I don't know if it's gonna work either. But hopefully, you know? Man of water sits in a freezer. Guess what happens next? Yeah.
Just any door?
Any door.
Okay.
Any door.
Okay. Okay. Saros, what now?
Please exit the room.
I just leave?
Yes.
Okay.
Now venting hot air into the room.
Oh, okay, that's why. Okay.
Technically, if someone's like suffering for hypothermia, don't you want to like, you don't want to use hot. You want to use like lukewarm or whatever. Because if hot can like hurt them.
Would not want
I
to
think.
be roasty toasty.
Roasty.
It is now safe.
Okay.
That's for people. Oh. I thought Waters was a person. My bad. Oh, different biologically. Okay, okay.
Hello. Are you okay? Yeah.
Swoosh noise.
What are you doing here?
I was directed by Saros to come find you, and you were frozen.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Okay.
My name is Yuval Rosmi.
How old are you?
I'm 4 years old.
You are the youngest person
You
ever.
sure you're really I don't know how to say.
I put myself in there.
Why did you do that?
Tell White.
I won't. Will you tell me why you did that though?
I don't know why Cyril's got you. I've been hearing things and seeing things, and I wanted it to stop.
I'm sorry.
I
Is it gone
I
now though?
Yes, for now. I didn't mean to. I didn't tell anybody. I forgot to tell anybody. I guess that's why I didn't mean to get myself stuck in there. I just wanted. I've been really tired lately.
You just wanted to chill out.
Anybody.
When was the last time you slept?
I tried to sleep a couple hours ago, and I was woken up and I had to act quickly, and I wasn't thinking. It's maybe a week.
Oh my god.
He's been frozen for a week?
I'm trying to think of any like remedies I might have for like sleeping. I don't know.
It's okay.
Oh. He has slept in a week. Oh!
Do you have like
Yeah, I'd
an
freeze
emotional
myself too.
support animal or something?
No,
The emotional support. The emotional support animal is light.
I don't.
Maybe like
I have birds. They usually stay in the dining hall.
oh, maybe like get an emotional support animal. They help out a lot.
I don't know. I guess I'm just concerned that anything that I would bring into this would suffer.
Oh,
I'm fine. I'm trying to be fine. Sirius has been trying to keep me on track.
Eros is very, very good. I got lost coming here in Saros Rock. was able to help out a lot. So I.
And don't leave all the way here from the hotel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I hope the freezing didn't do too much to you. Did it?
I mean, it didn't feel good. That's one of the things, but I'll sit by the volcano and I'll be fine.
Okay.
After a while.
Okay.
I'm sorry you were woken up for this.
It's okay. It's okay. As long as you are.
I said, light is water's emotional support animal.
Fine now. I'm actually really glad that I was able to come over here. I wouldn't want anything bad to happen to you.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I feel like I look really greasy and gross, but I promise you I'm
I
not.
hope you feel better soon, and I hope those the things that you're hearing and seeing go away.
I hope so too.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Thank you for visiting SUNC, and thank you for talking fine waters.
For what? The YouTube auto subtitles are crazy.
Hey!
My God!
Hey! Hey!
Why is he saying it like that? Hey! Hey! Violence is first thing next season. Violence is getting squashed. By someone. I don't know who. Violence is getting squashed. Leave Frog alone.
What?
Hey, come here!
No,
Hey!
no.
Hey!
No,
Hey!
oh my God!
Hey!
No,
Come here!
no.
Hey!
No.
Hey! Let me talk to you!
Something went wrong. Something went wrong. No, it works perfectly. It works perfectly. You could have pinged me. Freya would come help you. Freya, first thing next season, Freya is obliterating violence. I did end up writing The Nightmare that Waters had to put himself there if anyone wants to read that. Not posting and Lord Tuesday just wrote for fun. I love all of your writing. Post it in the writing channel. How is the guard force not like, hey, oh my god, violence is out, and here he is.
Hey! Hey! I'm talking to you! Hey!
Years.
Hey! Hey! You dropped this.
Violence isn't even watching this. I don't know if you understand how unlikable of a character you have made. Truffle, no. We are not liking violence here. We are Violence the Clown haters here. Certified, hold on. Hold on. Hold on. don't have Canva Premium. Don't judge me. Okay, nobody's gonna be able to read this. Okay, you can read it. It says certified violence the clown hater. It'll have to be that big so people can actually read it. Alright, continuing.
Uh-huh. You okay? Hey! Hey!
No, I'm good.
Admins in the chat, make a server role called Certified Violence the Clown Hater. Put me on it first. No?
Good. I'm good.
Can I come in?
No.
Why not? Yeah, you want some cake?
Now,
Have some
Guard Force
cake.
would have been on this. This is not canon.
Here,
Guard
here.
Force would have been on this.
have some.
Oh,
Actually, don't eat that. I wouldn't eat that.
why?
Last time. I wouldn't. It's the same cake. Sorry.
Next time something happens on Keepers of Solace grounds, y'all better contact me. Guard Force would have been on this.
Quit eating it. If it.
Actually, that's your own that's your twin! Feather is your twin! Get the Guard Force on this!
That was good. You missed out.
Okay.
So what's up?
Nothing much.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good.
Hey.
Like, stop pausing,
Hey,
sorry!
I think that door's broken.
This, if you want to watch the whole video uninterrupted, it is on Frog's channel. This is my stream, and I have things to say about Violence the Clown, CJ. Frame by frame, alright. Do I like Violence's character voice? I don't see anything different. Was that that? Hey! Hey!
Why'd you break it for real this time? It's just not even there anymore. It's just gone.
Look, I was asking you a question, you weren't answering my question. I just wanted to know the answer to the question. But no, you had to lock the door and I just couldn't get in, but you didn't answer my
wonder
question if I
why.
could come in or not. So I might as well just like help myself. If I could come in!
Oh, that was it?
Yep.
Okay, well, obviously the answer was no.
Was it?
Yeah!
But the door's open.
Can you go now?
You don't wanna hang out with me?
Well, considering what you did, no.
Hey, Angel.
At all?
No.
Even if I got you cake? And more cake?
I'm pretty sure that's the same cake.
I ate the other cake!
Mm-hmm. Well.
Cake!
Mm-hmm.
Can I come with you?
Why do you want to come with me?
Why not? We're friends, right?
Oh.
We're friends, right?
Yep, we are friends. We are best friends.
Yeah. Let's go.
Let's go outside.
Also,
then.
yes,
Let's
congrats,
go outside. No, go back up there. Don't go up there.
I miss your
Close
dogs.
the door.
Okay.
Go run to the
They don't
police.
see you. Come
The
on, come on.
judicial branch is
Sure
right
they
there.
do!
They don't.
Which one's your room again? This one?
Yeah, it's that one.
Yes!
No, it's not. Which is your room?
Ass.
It's downstairs.
Is it?
Yeah.
You're lying to me! Oh.
It's not. No, it's not that one.
What's up, guys? You have a bird? Are you planning on eating it?
No, I don't eat.
I mean, you are a
animals.
dog. What's up,
One.
guys?
Or- yeah.
You want some cake?
Do not feed that to them.
Oh, okay. I'm getting the feeling you don't want me here.
You're not allowed to be here.
I'm not? Oh, I'm not. You're right. Oh,
You need to get out.
my bad. Holy, I'm so sorry.
Get go. I'm gonna walk you out just to make sure. Go.
I feel like violence
No!
is either character people
Where's your
love
door?
or loathe
Why?
with every
What the
fiber of
fuck?
their being.
Go.
And I am
I'm
a
not really-
certified
Door
violence
anymore.
the
Actually,
clown
never mind.
hater.
I'm not gonna do that. I can fix
Fix
it.
yeah, fix it.
I
Yeah, you
like-
totally
Right now-
can
right
fix it,
now?
huh?
I don't
Right
like
now.
violence.
I'll bring back scraps. Oh, just.
Mhm.
Where is everybody? Why is it that every time I'm here, no one's here?
I don't know. I really,
Very
really don't
unfortunate
know.
for you.
Huh?
That's very unfortunate for you.
Mhm.
Don't you have like a panic button or something?
I've been hitting it the whole time.
Oh, maybe she's baking. It's alright. I heard she had a baking class recently.
I did, and it was fun. Okay, baking is
Yeah.
great. Baking is fun.
Right. Right. Right.
Get out. Go. I'm gonna poke you, bro. Go.
Just start running to
You
the
having
judicial
fun?
Go.
branch.
Alright, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here before I get caught.
Go.
You have fun!
You
Bye!
Oh my god.
That was awful. Certified violence the clown hater. All right, back to this. Why does he sound like he has popcorn? Lung is crazy. All right, a small routine change. Sorry. Kron has entered the building. Hello, man in the walls. Kron softly called out to the speaker as they began to descend down the spiraling stairs, their hooves making soft clop noises against the metal with each step downwards. Their hand brushed along the pole of which the stairs were attached to, using it as a form of banister for the descent. The sound of the atmosphere grew muffled as they reached the bottom of the stairwell, surrounded by the surface water from within the confines of the station's first floor of many. They gazed out of the glass walls for a long moment, staring up through the water as it rippled and moved, distorting the sky and land above. They would have stayed longer, but they knew they had to work. So they turned on their heel and went down the entry elevator, then walked a bit and down another, until they clumsily stepped out into the historian offices, readjusting their trench coat. Kron was glad to find their work notebook still out on their desk. However, they didn't remember closing it. Sorry. And when they flicked it open to a fresh page, they took note of the jagged paper remains along the in-between of two pages. Their drawing was missing. The one of the water woman. Did they do that the other day? If they did, why was the page with the shitty notes still there? Maybe they got distracted before they could rip that out too? They checked their pockets, looked beneath their desk and the other desks about. Nothing. They stood up straight, a hand on their hip and the other scratching the back of their head. They were genuinely puzzled. Sure, they could always just draw another one, but they were kind of proud of that one. It was a little disappointing that it was just gone now. Kron shook their head a little, ripping out the messy scribbled page out of the book and putting it in the bin under the desk. Before sitting down, they did their best to work, to take down facts and information, to recall things that were taught to them, and had to translate a few other things into Gaelga to understand them even more. But the absence of the familiar pacing and mumbling, of the elevator going up and down, had them wandering. They sat back in their chair, the wheels rolling back slightly with the movement, their head lolling back to face the ceiling. They just listened and waited, but nothing came. Nothing other than the familiar muffled hum that accompanied the station. You know what? Do I have music for, No, I don't have music for... I only have for Truffle, Feather, Light, Freya, obviously, and Lucky. And then there are a few other people who have put up music that I haven't added yet. Thanks, Saint. Thanks, Virgil. Thanks, Fluffy. Thanks, Truffle. Their face scrunched up while their head turned to the side, catching sight of the clock. 6:08 a.m. Mr. Tink was always moving about around this time, but why wasn't he? He rarely took breaks whenever Kron was working, and when he did, usually he would let Kron know, or they would hear his footsteps going towards another one of the elevators, which they remembered led to the break room. Something felt wrong. Another moment of debate in their mind. Kron got up, notebook tucked into one of their inside pockets, before they went inside the elevator, up to the labs with a stumble. They let out a soft mumble in slight frustration, but they brushed it off and looked around. Mr. Tink? Hear you? Kron's voice was a whispered call as they wandered around the main lab, peeking around the corners and under desks as if they expected to find their boss hiding in those unlikely spots. But to be fair, anything could be possible from Waters being absent without any warning. The last time this happened, it was when he was kidnapped. Kron's chest tightened with bitterness at their reminding memory, their hand instinctively grazing over the red stain on their front. But they shook it off and kept looking. After calling out a few more times, one of the elevators in the lab caught their attention. The station was huge. Waters could be anywhere, doing some sort of side quest, and there sure wasn't a map, at least not to Kron's knowledge. Worst that could happen is that they get lost, and end up somewhere they weren't supposed to be. But surely it'd be locked if they weren't allowed to be there, so just getting lost would be the worst. A moment later, they were in one of the elevators, hopping out and wandering down copper tunnels. They found a submarine, sleeper pods, a garden, other offices, storage areas, a big long staircase down to a room that was locked, and was full of weird stuff that they weren't going to question, but still no sign of the tank head. They let out a huff as they gave the area one more sweep before going down a different elevator, but they soon quickly hopped back out, spotting a door that was usually closed wide open, with a floor down. Just a floor down. They stared at it for a long moment, their ears twitching beneath their hood, straining to hear anything from within. When they heard nothing, they slowly walked through, taking their bow off their belt and an arrow out of the quiver, both held in either hand. It led down a long hallway which they passed with a quick pace, occasionally glancing back to the door as if expecting it to slam shut or something to be there running full speed at them like a bull. That was not something they were keen on dealing with, anything like that. Especially when surrounded by water deep in the ocean. They didn't doubt the strength of the walls of the station, but their mind wasn't letting them disregard the risks and possibilities from their mind. Kron pushed open the door at the end of the hallway at a faster pace, stepping through and letting it close behind them, watching it as it did so. They felt their body relax after a moment as they carefully wandered down the short staircase, but then a shiver of cold made them stiffen up again. They understood that being this far down under the water, the temperature would drop, but didn't the station have a heating system? Kron looked about and soon they saw a large iron door cracked open ajar, faint clouds of frosty air gushing out beneath it. They took a few small steps closer and peeked in, the room's floor coated in frost and pieces of ice on the lower parts of the walls. They squinted a little, noticing footprints that were just about visible, a singular pair going inside, then two pairs walking back out. One of the pairs was a little more of a drag outwards. Huh? Kron stopped as their ears perked up, hearing a familiar noise, grumbling and shuffling. Mr. Tank, there he was! They followed the sounds with quiet steps to a room back in the hallway they hadn't noticed, going inside and finding a room with a sign above the doorway. Medical Room 1. They gazed at it for a second before the sharp noise of something knocking off another sharply echoed through the very quiet space, making them jump and snap their head over. Waters was grumbling to himself with a soft shake to his voice, his clunky boots in his hands. He repeatedly smacked the sides of the boots against each other, ice shavings falling off and melting upon impact on the floor. A largening puddle was forming where the ice was melting, slowly filtering to a drain nearby. Pieces of his tactical gear were hanging off the end of the bed he sat on, another small puddle forming on the floor beneath them from the water dribbling down the end of the bed frame and dripping onto the floor. Kron watched as Waters dropped his boots down on the floor beside his feet, the man slightly hunched over. His elbows rested on his knees, and his hands were clasped together in front of him, his hands a pale blue color, and holding a light tremble from his tight grip on the other. The water in his tank helmet bubbled as it tilted and moved. Kron was watching from around the doorway carefully, a slight worried tilt to their head. Kron, what are you doing here? Kron tensed and ducked back, their back pressed against the outside wall, cursing profusely in their mind. They held their breath and stayed perfectly still. Maybe if they didn't move, Mr. Tank would forget they were there. Kron, I saw you. No, he didn't. An audible sigh rang out. I can still see you. Bullocks. Kron took a long moment before they eventually, albeit awkwardly, wandered their way out and into the doorway. Their hands were held behind their back, fingers fidgeting with their cuff sleeves. The worst did in fact happen. Hello! They paused for another second, trying to figure out what to say. You okay, boss? Something happened? Kron's voice was soft, yet awkward, as they shifted from hoof to hoof, having to mentally scream at themselves to not call Waters the nickname they gave him. But they soon relaxed a little, watching with a furrowed expression behind their mask as Waters brushed off more ice from his clothes, taking note of him trying to straighten himself up, even as his hands returned to meet each other in his lap to squeeze each other. Waters cleared his throat, stumbling over stammers which made Kron more confused. He didn't usually stammer much. No, nothing happened. I'm fine. Kron's ears twitched and lowered partly beneath the shadows of their hood, against the barrier that was their hair, Water's voice sounding off. They remembered his voice sounded off before, but this was a different type of off this time. They took a small, slow step forward into the room, as if testing the water to see if they were even welcome to do so. Why have ice on? They gave a small gesture towards the trenched, tactical gear, along with the puddle of sludge that was slowly crawling its way down the drain in the room with their hand. Arms soon finding a comfortable position crossed over their stomach. The question was met with a small silence from their boss, who they felt tense up a smidge more, his tank head turning towards the clothes and puddles. His legs were stiff as he rose to his feet, taking the boots from the ground and almost falling forward, but forcing himself to manage and grab the other gear from the end of the bed frame, carrying it in his arms up towards a cabinet in the furthest part of the room, folding them up inside and taking out equipment from his belt. I was working on a project in the volcano. Kron's head tilted, their heads slowly turning towards their boss. Volcano put ice on you. Frost down there? Yes. It sounded to them that it physically pained Waters to say that. His hands slumping the equipment he was just adjusting down upon the ledge of the cabinet before just placing them inside with a little less care. He stayed there for a moment, leaning against the cabinet with his hands propped on either side, before turning around stiffly and hobbling over back to the medbay bed with a heavy sigh. He didn't say anything else, not even as seeming to be facing Kron anymore. Kron, in turn, just watched him from where they stood near the door, a small weight growing in their chest. The masked person slowly took a step closer to the other, his fingers unbuttoning one of the fastenings of their trench coat, thinking of what to say. You not have to tell anything. Things hard to say sometimes. I understand. I want to know if you're gonna be safe, Mr. Tank. That's all. They moved to stand at the end of the bed, glancing around the room when no response was given to them from their boss. They glanced back out the door, scaffolding and exposed cables blocking the hallway further down. This felt strange. They weren't sure how to help this time. They doubted talking was something he wanted to do, especially after whatever actually happened. But Kron didn't exactly want to leave him alone. Maybe they should change the subject. Where's man in the walls? The question made Waters perk up, as if taking a second to process the absurd question, shifting slightly to sit up a bit more on the edge of the bed, turning his upper body to face his colleague again. What? Kron, what do you mean, a man in the walls? No, you talk him all the time. He says when people enter or leave, you know, man in the walls. Can I trouble? Another moment. Siros? Kron gave a firm nod after recognizing the system's name, glad that Waters eventually understood what they meant. They watched as he shook his head softly with a breathy, partly forced laugh, before it died down and he answered, while getting up onto the bed properly, laying back against the pillow with a grunt. I'm working on setting him up down here. I haven't finished yet. Kron nodded again, this time a little slower, showing that they understood the explanation. They gave another quick glance to the door, their ears twitching in hesitant thought beneath their hood yet again. Quietly, they closed over the door to provide a little privacy, before walking over to a chair by a desk at the far wall and gently sat down. The chair creaked beneath them when they did so, despite their efforts of no noise. You're staying? Waters' voice was a little hoarse and more of a grumble when he asked. It made Kron feel a bit guilty for just sitting down and not asking first. If okay with you? Their boss merely hummed in confirmation, gesturing with a small thumbs up before his arm flopped back down onto the bed. Just as Kron was taking out his work notebook, a soft chime noise emanated from the computer they hadn't even noticed was on the desk. Employee Kron, I have prompted your computer instance to this one, if you wish to use it for working. Siros' voice came out in its usual robotic tone from the device, making Kron tense a little at the sudden normal volume. They gave a quick look to Waters, worried that the noise had woken him up. If he even was asleep. It was hard to tell. But when he didn't appear to stir, they relaxed and leaned closer to the computer, their voice a whisper. Oh, okay, thank you, Sirost. I love Kron so much. They're in the walls. Siros was busy carrying everyone. From Ehrgeist, set before Zenithra's lost and found. Zenithra, sorry. I've gone back to saying Zenithra for whatever reason. Zenithra. Poking the ideological bear. Hello? Why can't I? Whoa, what is? I don't want to open the magnifier. What? There we go. By the third time Lux felt one of Iris's messages along their regular path, they knew she had been spying on them long before she begun to pester. The messages remained simple enough, whispers that emphasized Lux's supposed need to slow down, with a hint of annoyance along the edges that even Iris couldn't remove entirely. Lux could adjust to it, though, allowing the messages to encircle them until they finished whatever task they were in the middle of. More importantly, they couldn't ignore the opportunity Iris had placed before them. Lux didn't need to know the location of their people's ship if its leader was already paying attention to the planet's surface. Iris would still find their reply when sending her message, and no one would give a second glance if they stumbled upon Lux relaxing on one of the benches while formatting their own. Lux was once more able to tell their people the adventures they experienced over the last half-decade in the only way they could. Nothing too serious. Those stories could wait until they were together again. Instead, they told of falls of diamonds on gaseous planets slowly solidifying through gravity alone. Carnivorous plants evolved to blind their prey before ensnaring them in their traps. Asteroids so populated they could only continue expanding by building up. Iris's responses were fragments at best. Worthless tales. But they knew she would pass them along all the same. And so the strange messaging system became part of their routine, especially once there was a lull in activity. Sure, it could easily just be the calm before the storm, but they allowed themselves to enjoy it all the same. The sun was dipping by the time Lux pulled away from the social areas, walking back towards their temporary place near Riverside. It was the perfect time of day, empty enough to hear their steps on the gravel as the breeze rustled through the last of the leaves and the snowbirds trilled from the treetops. Yeah, CJ writes up to the max every single week. And they're a great writer, so I am not ever disappointed. Maybe it was that slow pace that allowed Lux to stumble upon an active message. Iris's presence still warped around it. They let their own glide out, only separate enough for her to feel the invitation. A second passed where they feared Iris would rather let it dissipate completely before hers fastened on. A small grin escaped before they could stop it. Thank you, Iris. Lux almost wished they could use the connection to trace it back to the ship, but they knew the trust this represented. They wouldn't break it. Don't pretend you wouldn't have complained if I had refused. We're not children anymore. The message pressed outwards in jest. Besides, I know you've been holding back your opinions on what I've been doing. A layer of annoyance snuck through before it was torn away again. You've always been too conspicuous. Not even the guides could teach you oh my god, I can't say it. Subtlety. Thank you. Lux took a pause as they guided the message away from the path towards a dry area to sit. If this was going to be a full conversation, they wanted to be comfortable doing so. Well, I'd say it's worked so far. Things have been progressing. My laws were put in place with minimum pushback, and I was even able to set up guards. You want me to be impressed? You don't know how to direct your leader? What's her name? Freya. She means well enough, but she doesn't know the difference between helping and leading. How odd. I would say the same about you and guiding. Lux sighed. Of course Iris couldn't hold back their judgment. I've been rather successful considering I don't have a team. I'm gaining the trust of the civilians, and there's already a possible leader candidate. If anything, the work would be more efficient if you permitted one of the guides to join me. Is Lux trying to take over the planet? Huh? Anger broke through, far more than Lux had ever felt from Iris. Yet she didn't respond at first, as if she was still trying to control her emotions bursting through. Yeah, what is this about, like, things have been progressing. My laws were put in place. I'm gaining the trust of the civilians. There's already a possible leader candidate. What? They're gone. They all perished. Every last record keeper and ward saver. None of us would have survived if Elder Aster hadn't remained. Oh, it shouldn't have been surprising. 90% was still 90%. But this was the first time they were able to place faces on that horrible number. All the faces they would never see again. Anador, Felidex, Maribel, Lux. They startled, only then feeling the tears they embarrassingly wiped away. If sighs could be felt over connection, they were sure Iris would have sent one over. Fine, we'll finish this conversation later. Go home. She severed the message before Lux could answer. Lux's last response flowed out to nowhere. You could have stayed. Somehow it made them feel a little better. Lux is a little possessive. Does Lux want the... I'm so... Huh? Do they have an ulterior motive? To being the judge? I'm so intrigued. Papa Croy from Light. Light rarely ever visited Kindlegrim. Its forests always gave an off feeling, and she never liked to outstay her welcome. Plus, the only two people she knew lived in Kindlegrim were Croy and Kron. Kron didn't want to see her, and Croy was missing, or at least wasn't anywhere near Kron. It made her anxious. So very anxious. Yeah, Lux being a secret villain would go crazy. I'm scared. It's what drove her to walk through Kindlegrim. Her ears twitched to and fro to every sound in the forest. She was tense, twiddling with her hair to calm her... Oh, actually, you know what? Hold on. I have music specifically for light stuff. Hold on. Do you hear that? Yeah? Okay, cool. There's been hints in the last few pieces. I finally kind of pieced it together. I was like, hold on a minute. She was tense, twiddling with her hair to calm her anxious mind. She walked to the stone building she had seen before. She bowed her head.
In my car right after a beer. Hey, that bomb is shaped like a deer.
She walked to the stone building she had seen before. She bowed her head in respect to Havoc's grave, even if she never knew him. She followed the path until she saw something from the corner of her eye. She turned and saw Croy in the distance, working on something. She couldn't see exactly what he was doing. Light felt so much relief that she started to cry. She started to rush over. Papa! Papa Croy! She called. She watched the ghost turn to see her. His expression was unmoving as always, but she could sense what he felt. Flashes of shock, bits of disbelief. Light half expected to sense that he didn't believe her to be real, but she didn't. She sensed that Croy truly believed that she was real and that she was there. Even more relief flooded through her. He moved quickly, meeting her halfway and hugging her tightly. She returned the hug. Then the ghost moved back, cupping the dragon's face quickly and gently. He was especially gentle when his hands grazed the golden scar over her left eye before he went, hold on. I need to turn the music down for myself because it's distracting. Oh gods, he murmured softly. You poor thing, look at the state of your skin. Light's ears twitched when she felt the sadness and pain coming from the ghost. She reached out and held Croy's hand. It's all right, she said, trying to reassure her papa that she was okay. Did the music pause or stop? Oh, I gotta... Hold on, you know what? I just need to play this and I'll fix it later. It needs to loop, but I'm not hitting that every time it stops looping. My bad. Okay. Sorry. It's all right, she said, trying to reassure her papa that she was okay. She felt a pang of guilt for making him worry about her. Papa, I'm okay, really, she said with a small smile. Croy looked at her, then slowly nodded. I am sorry, he said suddenly, for crushing you, for abandoning you. I would have gone back for you if I had not sunk into the ground. Light's expression changed to one of horror and shock, her wings puffing up. Oh gods, is that what you thought? She asked, her voice shaking. Papa, no, God's above, no, it wasn't your fault, you didn't crush me. The very thought of the ghost thinking that it had been his fault, that he had crushed her, made her heart ache. She took a shaky breath and met Croy, her gaze set with a firm and serious look. You didn't kill me, Papa. I died because of the explosion. I was dead before the collapse, she explained, determined to make the ghost understand that it wasn't his fault. It wasn't your fault. It has never been your fault. Light watched Croy carefully. He was silent, as if he was processing what she had said. Then he nodded in understanding, although Light could still sense that the ghost blamed himself in some capacity. That made the dragon's heart twist painfully. She didn't want him to blame himself. It wasn't his fault. Light hugged her papa again. He returned the hug. "I missed you so much," she said as a fresh wave of tears fell from her eyes. "When I didn't see you with Kron, I got worried." She felt Croy's grip tighten suddenly. "You saw Kron?" the ghost asked. "How are they doing?" The dragon hesitated for a bit. She pulled away, locking her gaze with the ground. They don't believe that I am real. They believe that I am Elia," she said softly, her voice filled with pain. "They're doing all right otherwise," she added quickly. "They started working at SUNC as a general historian. Waters and I keep an eye on them and make sure that they are fed. Frog is doing well enough. Violence is still stalking her. I think she's going to move in with Feather at this point. And Belios." Her voice caught in her throat when she got to Belios. Pain and guilt made her ears lower and the wings on her head to tuck closer to her face. He was hurt because he revived me. His eyes are gone and his throat was cut." She sobbed as she lowered her head, her tears falling into the grass. "Light, no," Croy said as he cupped Light's face, his touch gentle. "It isn't your fault, my lovely." She leaned into her papa's touch, her tail curling around her ankles. "Belios must have known the price to pay for reviving you," he continued, "and he still did it because he loved and cared about you greatly, even though the action was probably not something he should have done." There was relief in Light's eyes briefly, but it faded quickly. She closed her eyes and hugged her papa, relaxing as he returned the hug. For the first time in a long time, she felt some comfort. She felt like she was going to be all right, even if it was only just so. She could relax and allow herself to have some form of comfort without feeling guilty for making the other worry about her. For now, she could relax in her papa's embrace. The story of Wilfred Dion. Fluffy, are you here? You wanted me to ping you when you're... Alright, Fluffy's here. Alright. Here we go. This is Fluffy's character, everyone. And I'm saying the name right, by the way. Wilfred Dion. Like Celine Dion. Near, far, wherever you are. I have the writing course notes afterwards if anyone's interested in the writing course behind the scenes stuff. Ooh. Alright, cool. The door to the office is slow to open as Wilfred gently pushes. He peers inside, afraid. "Welcome! Glad you can make it," the woman sitting at the desk announces. Wilfred is slow to enter, but he knows he has no other choice. His shameful acts have brought him here with an order for evaluation, a request he cannot refuse. Wilfred saunters in, eyes examining the rather bland room. He examines the therapist, not ecstatic to see her, but required. "Hello, I assume you know why I'm here?" Wilfred asks. The therapist nods and gestures to the seat across from herself at the desk. "Of course, I've done my reading and I know what happened, but a written report will never be the same as the words coming from the person's mouth, if you ask me." She smiles, waving her pen to the chair again. Wilfred's reluctance is strong, but he continues forward to the chair and takes his seat. I'm really sorry. I didn't mean for any of this to happen," Wilfred pleads, trying to confess his sins, but he feels more out of breath than ready to talk. The room draws silent as Wilfred struggles to look across the desk at the therapist. Instead, his eyes lock on the nameplate on her desk, reading it over and over again in his mind. Wilfred wants to say more, but he's struggling. "Miss Bekele?" She politely interrupts. "Wilfred, it's all right. Relax for just a moment and let's start from the beginning, shall we?" she says with a smile. Wilfred glances up, finally meeting her eyes, and sighs. "Yeah, all right." Miss Bekele quietly turns and grabs a folder, taking it and sliding it to Wilfred across the desk. "Now, I know you military types love your classified information, and how you all like to try and hide your secrets, but you are a very special case, and as such, I was granted access to some information regarding your program." She quietly clears her throat, then opens the folder. Wilfred looks down, nothing new to him, but a little surprised that a civilian has access to these documents. He glances over them, checking the details and validity. Unsurprisingly, most of the details are censored, scrubbed. Not even the project name is on the documents. Wilfred smirks, amused at how little she actually knows, but the smile fades as it dawns on him how carefully he will have to explain things to her. Miss Bekele points to one section in particular and reads it aloud. Subjects in this program are subjected to memory transfers on a regular basis, to which the long-term effects are unknown. Her finger glides across the page to another section. Subjects' memories are extracted during death in combat, resulting in exponentially more battlefield experience. She leans back in her chair, almost appalled at the things Wilfred must have gone through, but she waits for Wilfred to speak first. When he doesn't, she finally chimes in. I can imagine what the psychological effects of this program must be like, but I want you to tell me. Wilfred relents, easing his muscles a bit. What you really want to know is why I lashed out and attacked those Anathi last week. Miss Bekele's expression turns to a frown. We'll get to that point, but I don't think that's where it all started. Wilfred's sour expression turns to a small chuckle, and he spends a silent moment thinking. I guess I could think of one moment in particular that led to this. Wilfred closes his eyes and Miss Bekele quietly checks her monitor, ensuring the recorder is running. The room falls silent. Wilfred's eyes flutter open as a United Earth Navy soldier pulls the last strap over his body, binding him to the pod he's encased in. Good luck, he says before pulling the lid shut. Wilfred's hands grip on his rifle as the pod is moved into position, sealed into a tube. Darkness follows. We were ordered to capture an enemy vessel. It was damaged. Escorts destroyed. We didn't know it was just part of a scouting party. A flash of light through the small glass porthole. Wilfred watches the stars fly by as he's launched with incredible force through space. Wilfred's eyes flutter shut again. My squad was always meant to be replaceable, so we were sent in to see if we could establish a landing zone for everyone else. Wilfred leans towards the porthole, glancing towards the ship in the distance, seeing it at his feet. Within a moment, the distant ship collides with Wilfred. Like any war, our enemies had to be evil, otherwise how could you fight? The pod is flooded with light, as all of the straps on Wilfred's body instantly come loose, the floor of the pod ejecting outward with a burst of gas, and Wilfred is flung out, into the ship, rifle held onto for dear life. Anathi are already in the room, trading shots with Wilfred's teammates, rounds screeching through the air as Wilfred rolls into cover. He glances to his right and watches as two of his squad mates are shot, killed on the spot as rounds tear through their chests. He watches as their bodies collapse on the ground. Wilfred's helmet display shows a new notification. Renegade 4 KIA. Renegade 3 unconscious, status critical, aborting. One of the unconscious soldier's bodies convulses as it's shocked to death, ensuring he cannot be captured. That was our purpose. We were built to die. We all knew what we signed up for. Wilfred stares for a long moment, but a round catching his cover, igniting sparks in front of his eyes, snaps him back to reality. Wilfred stands and screams, his weapon singing louder than his voice ever could as more rounds fly across the room. Anathi troops are quick to duck into cover, but the gunfire shifts its focus back towards Wilfred. Wilfred ducks and reloads as more rounds sing out. After a long drawn-out moment, the The small room they had landed in was clear. Wilfred finally breathes deep and examines his surroundings. Many casualties lay on the ground, but enough of them were still alive to keep moving forward. The renegade team quickly moves forward towards the doorway and stacks on either side, waiting for everyone to get into position. It's not really hard to read. I struggle all the time with sometimes, like, I think it was the soldiers unconscious soldier's body. This is what tripped me up, and then I just I die. The renegade team quickly moves towards the doorway and stacks on either side, waiting for everyone to get into position. John, Slick, Pepper, and Mist take the main hangar with me. We need control if we're going to get a landing ship in there. The leader points and gives orders quickly. Wilfred, you and Wire take the flank. A quiet acknowledgement is given, and the door flies open to the hallway. The team pushes quickly as Wilfred covers the hallway. The rest of the team head into the main hangar. Gunshots are quick to follow, but Wilfred has his orders. All of our experiences together taught us so much about each other. We all knew each other's strengths and weaknesses. Compared to the neighboring room, the hallway was quiet. Wilfred and Wire each staring down the respective ends of the hall. The eerie silence was comfortably broken as the sounds of shuffling footsteps came from one end. Wilfred gently looked back at Wire and saw a hand signal. Wilfred quickly spun around and stared down the hallway, watching, waiting, as Anathi reinforcements came sprinting in. They were caught off guard, and more than half of them were quickly cut down before the rest could grab cover. Shouting and screaming in another language came from down the hallway as Wilfred watched carefully for the next target to pop their heads out, but that's when something odd caught his eyes. One of the Anathi were signaling and yelling at the others. Wire took the opportunity to break up their conversation with a hail of bullets. That's when it happened. A seal of emergency reinforced doors contained the doorway leading to the hangar, cutting off escape. Wilfred glanced back to see the hallway an inch behind him had been sealed as well. They were stuck. Then it started to rain hell. The Anathi worked together to overwhelm Wire, and he was quickly cut down. Wilfred returned fire, but it was a brutal slaughter. Wilfred could only watch during his reload as a single Anathi darted away down the hallway. Renegade 7, KIA. Wilfred noted the odd details on the Anathi who fled. That's when he spotted it. A small badge on the Anathi. An officer. Someone important. Someone worthwhile. Wilfred, we're trapped in the hangar. We need a way out now, someone screamed in his earpiece as Wilfred continued firing down the hallway. Stupid acts of bravery were common among us, but alone? We're never supposed to be alone. Shots ring out as the last of the Anathi pinning Wilfred down are cut to pieces. Wilfred pushes Wire's corpse off of himself and rises to rush down the hall after the Anathi officer, loading a new magazine. Wilfred darted down the hallways, following the only non-sealed path he could find, and was quick to spot the Anathi who had fled earlier, along with a brand new team of Anathi forces. As Wilfred sprinted into the room, he screamed, surprising everyone as he sent rounds across the desk, and was quickly engaged in return. The Anathi officer started shouting more orders, but Wilfred quickly interrupting his speech with a grenade being tossed into the center of the room, annihilating half of the enemy combatants. Wilfred's volley of fire on the enemy wasn't on the front of his mind as he fought. He had killed so many in his time that even this was just another day in the office for him. He watched as the Anathi officer pulled out a device. He pressed a button, and a nearby sealed piece of wall opened to reveal a door. Wilfred smiled. Jackpot. He let out more fire across the room, stopping the officer from fleeing and advanced towards him. Renegade 5 KIA, Renegade 6 KIA, Renegade 1 KIA. Wilfred hesitated. What happened? Was he the last one left? Just then, the Anathi officer jumped from cover, drawing his pistol and putting a round at Wilfred, deflecting off his rifle as it split into two. Wilfred was quick to jump out of the line of fire, discarding his broken rifle, but before he could reach for anything else, he heard the footsteps of the Anathi officer trying to flee. No, this was his one chance. If he wanted to save anyone left in the hangar, he needed to get that control device now. Wilfred stepped into the open and charged. But that wasn't what mattered anymore. I didn't know it at the time. How could I? All at once, time felt as if it had slowed to a crawl. The Anathi officer was just a few steps away, back-turned, looking over his shoulder at Wilfred as he barreled towards him like a bull, his eyes set on that device, a way to open the hangar bay and disable the security systems on the ship. Wilfred's eyes didn't even glance off the officer, as an explosion happened in the hallway in front of the both of them. He reached out, grabbing the arm and pistol of the officer, disarming him and grappling him as he tried to pull him closer. Then, gravity disappeared, as a force pulled them both forward. More Anathi ships had entered the system, reinforcements. The battle had just outside the walls of that coffin had been waging without any of us knowing. How did the ship you were in get struck? How did the ship you were in get struck? Miss Bacaley asked. Collateral from a missed shot. Wilfred clung to the Anathi officer as the silence of space dragged them both out to the new breach in the wall. I'm sorry. This is my bad. I'm struggling. They both pulled at each other, dragged deep into the cold, empty vacuum, as UNN and Anathi ships in the distance fired at each other. Wilfred and the officer struck each other repeatedly, whacking, punching, drawing a knife and having it lost in space. They kept fighting for several long moments, their suits keeping them both alive for almost half a minute, but they were never designed for an EVA. The minor amount of life support being pulled off each other as the two fought. I still gripped at hope. I had to keep trying. Wilfred pulled the device off the Anathi officer, and before he could hit Wilfred again, a piece of debris hit them both, separating them as they flung through space. Wilfred's desperate grip on the device held firm as he tried to disable the ship's system and locks, trying to open up the opportunity for a boarding party before he died. The Anathi officer's equipment was far superior than Wilfred had expected, when he collided into Wilfred using a small thruster to catch back up to him, struggling once again for the device. Wilfred tried to strike the officer, but his now deployed helmet was keeping Wilfred's blows from doing any real damage. The Anathi grabbed the device and kicked Wilfred out of his grip, sending him reeling into space as he desperately reached out for the device. The officer touched the device and clicked it to his belt before speaking. The cold silence of space wouldn't let the words travel, but Wilfred stared him down, reading his lips, the words haunting Wilfred to this very moment. I swear to you, human, I will end your race. Renegade 2, unconscious, status critical, aborting. Wilfred closed his eyes. And this really stuck with you? Miss McKaylee asked. Wilfred fell silent, then took a deep breath. There are a lot of things that really stick with me, like you did. He opened his eyes again, and slowly the light filtered in. He was sitting alone in his cabin in the woods. The birds chirped, the local fauna and flora of Solace easing his mind as the wind gently blew, rustling the trees and the leaves. Wilfred slowly rose from the tree stump he was sitting on, picked up his axe, and started chopping firewood again. His break was over. It was time to get back to work. I know some things about this character. It's great. I love it. I am so glad that someone one of my favorite things in the Soul Pack Union lore is the Human Anathi War, and your character makes me nerd out. And it's great. Very well written. There were certain parts that I struggled with. I don't know if that was I don't think it was your fault. I think it was me. But some parts were like the intro section was really well written. That's peak sci-fi type writing. It was very good. Fantastic. I know you are at risk of never writing about this character again. Do not do that. I want to see more. Fire. Okay, I am gonna ping Glacier and see if they want to read the thing here. Okay, well, I should read the part 1 first, and then the part 2. I'll ping Glacier after this. Okay, this is gonna take about 2 minutes to read, so I'm gonna ping Glacier real quick. The Arcturus land felt a little warmer than the rest of Solace this time of year. Not warm enough for Zinnia to go without her oversized jacket, or even to keep her nose and cheeks from going red and blotchy, but enough for the ground to be clear of ice. Enough for Zinnia to not focus on the relentless chill in the air. It also meant that Zinnia could explore the land without a distraction. The faction meeting had been weighing on her mind. Lucky was injured from some sort of trap located on Arcturus land. No confirmation on who made said trap. No confirmation on there being others. A threat, really, by all definitions, and yet Zinnia only saw an opportunity. A way to bring more smiles to Solace. All she had to do was make the planet a little bit safer. She had a simple plan. Search for any remaining traps and then disarm them. Easy peasy. Except Zinnia hadn't found a single one so far. The girl sighed, resting a hand on her hip with a pout as she took in her surroundings. It had been at least a couple hours, and she hadn't even come across the trap Lucky had fallen into. Had Zinnia gone too far? Not far enough? Why didn't I just ask? Ugh. She wanted to keep searching, even as curfew approached and passed, but the distinct lack of light in the sky was starting to make it next to impossible. In fact, Zinnia was now tripping on every raised tree root she came across, the small glow of light from a flower she produced in her hand doing very little to help. Yeah, definitely time to call it quits for the day. Using one hand to steady herself on the trees she passed, and the other maintaining a faint light to get her home, Zinnia made her way slowly through the dense forest she had found herself in. The bite of the winter air was really starting to sink its teeth in now, a seemingly never-ending chill going down her spine with every step she took. No, it wasn't just the cold. Something felt odd. Zinnia whipped around, a pit forming in her stomach while her eyes strained through the dark. Exploring and trying to be a hero was a lot less scary when the sun was high in the sky. But now? Now she was gravely aware of how out of her depth she was. I'm super strong, the strongest even. I'm okay, Zinnia mumbled to herself as she kept creeping in what she hoped was the right way out of this dumb forest. Except, she probably should have looked at what was beneath her in addition to what was around her, because in that next moment, the back of her heel connected with a particularly raised tree root, sending her down to the floor and hissing in pain. Well, she thought, at least it wasn't a trap. Getting to her feet, Zinnia dusted her hands off before forming another flower that she could use to light up her surroundings, only to freeze up entirely. Her eyes had done a lot of straining in the dark, so maybe she was starting to see things, but she could swear she was looking at the outline of a person in the dark, lying on the floor. Zinnia took a tentative step forward, worry pooling in her gut that perhaps this person had gotten hurt alone out here. And then another, until she was able to get a better look at the person while still maintaining a cautious distance. And oh boy, Zinnia may have seriously messed up today. In front of her lay Nanathi, wearing a cloak as dark as the night sky. In front of her lies Eclipse. And now here comes, like, my favorite thing ever. I don't think Glacier has responded. Are they in? No, I think they may have gone to bed. Did Glacier go to bed? Glacier? The stream is the only thing keeping me from throwing my Steam Deck at the wall. Come back to it later? Oh, no, Glacier went to bed. It's okay. It's okay. I do want to read this now. What do you guys think? You want it like this or like this? Probably the zoomed in version, but it cuts off a teeny tiny bit at the top. Is that gonna be okay? Maybe, here, I'll do this. There we go. Okay. Oh, I'm so excited to read this. Okay, here we go. What? Let me go. You don't know what you're doing. Don't know what I'm doing? You're a wanted criminal. I know exactly what I'm doing. Shuffle, shuffle. You're one of those assholes that attacked me before, aren't you? I wouldn't really call it that. We just wanted you to stop. And you're the one who shot me first. I love Eclipse's face here. She's so done. What? Do people not believe in self-defense? Anyway, I'm not here for you, so kindly leave me alone. What the fuck? Leave you alone? What? So you can blow more people up? No way! You wouldn't... If someone close to you was pointlessly murdered, wouldn't you do everything to get them back? That's... and her releasing the grip. No. Whoop. Never mind. Especially if it meant hurting innocent people. Don't you feel remorse for that? Innocent. I'm wasting my time talking to you. They were innocent. Those people, my friends that died, they didn't kill Cypher. You were all complacent. Like I said, I'm not a monster. I'm not here for you. I'm here for your leadership. And from what I've seen, you're not too fond of them either. You're right. You're not a monster. And I'm sorry for what happened. I really am. But I can't let you hurt anyone else. Aren't you tired? You're doing what you have to for the people you love. No different from me. I guess I'm not too different, but this has to stop now. You'll get a trial, I'm sure. Imprisonment, probably. You won't have to devote your life to revenge. Maybe that's what you have to do, for Cypher! You can't be serious. Well, I can't let you go, and I obviously can't kill you. Who knows? In time, maybe you'll be able to reform. Right, so I'll just go get the captain. Do you need anything before I go? Yeah, a knife. Ha ha, very funny. I'm being serious. I haven't done this before, and I don't want you to die by accident or something. Don't worry, you're doing great. Really? Thanks! On second thought, please just go. Huh? Did you say something? Are you going to get someone or just stand there? Oh! Right, sorry. I'll be as quick as I can. Don't go anywhere! Oh, I love them so much. Ah, it's so funny. The way you draw clips is like absolute peak. And I think this just, it shows their personality so well. Alright. Continuing on. Hold on, let me, there we go. After encountering and subduing Eclipse, Zinnia races to Marcello's cabin for backup. The two hurry back to the scene, only to find the wanted criminal missing, leaving almost no trace behind. It was as if she were never there entirely. Despite Zinnia's insistence, Marcello can't help but wonder, was she? While he doesn't confront Zinnia too much in the moment, prioritizing alerting others and searching the area, the thought doesn't leave him. How was it that Zinnia did not have even a scratch on her? Why didn't she use her emergency communications device? It was when he determined that there were no immediate threats that he began to question Zinnia. The girl, initially defensive in her answers, before shrinking down on herself, losing her confidence. According to her account, she blindsided Eclipse and, in a panic, forgot to alert anyone. Zinnia insisted the stray broken tree roots in front of them were what she used to hold Eclipse in place, and, upon closer inspection, Marcello spots a small torn piece of black fabric. A quick look over of Zinnia while she's distracted shows her clothes fully intact, truly without a scratch on her. It's weak proof at best, Marcello knows, but enough for him to take the girl at face value. For now, at least. Eclipse was too dangerous to let something like this go. He had to follow up on this. Was the girl crying wolf? And we get Robecello! The way I pictured Marcella going into the forest with a face mask on. Zinnia really thought the Eclipse threat was over? That's crazy. I would have pissed my pants if I were her. That's... Marcella just like, what? I was asleep. Peak. So peak. So peak! Ugh. Alright, from Balios, the tired dad and the blind son. Mira would have just shot her. Yeah, that would have been better. If Zinnia had carried a gun. No more Eclipse. Bye-bye. Oh well. Today would have marked the official week Balios has been in the hospital. Probably the longest he's been in one place. The most without divine intervention. Today was also the day he was no longer constantly watched by light. The day he could finally curse himself for being selfish. Balios was on his bed as usual, with a crow resting in his lap as he petted it. This was his usual routine. Sit up in the morning, pet the crow, lie down at night with the crow. He had physical therapy along with speech therapy, though he was always drained from those. So today he decided to skip them and just rest. As he was doing that, though, he felt a stinging sensation in his head, and then a flash. His mind had registered a soul. It popped in his head like a memory, though he didn't see the figure. He saw a fox skull with white flames around it. Each flash he got sent pain through his head. He then felt something reaching out to him. But before he could register it as friendly or foe, he sank his teeth into their arm. He heard a surprised grunt before he recognized the sound of their voice. It was Croy. He immediately let go of him and muttered an apology as much as he could. Do not worry, Balios. No body, no pain. Balios heard Croy answer, the ghost lightly laughing before continuing. I probably should have announced myself a little better. I did not mean to catch you off guard. Balios looked in the direction of the ghost, not seeing exactly where they were. No, you're fine. Should have dealt without teeth. Sorry again. Balios lowered his head a bit. Are you also here for revenge? For bringing light back? Balios' voice lowered to a whisper as he thought of what Waters had done. A silence lingered after Balios' question, making the blind demigod's heart pick up the pace, the heart monitor beeping faster in turn. But gently a new weight came to the bed, indicating that Croy was leaning on it in some way. Do you think so lowly of me that I would do that? The question was genuine, Balios just about managing to pick up a hint of hurt in the disappointed tone of the ghost. Croy took a soft breath before continuing, the weight on the bed shifting a little once more. Light explained to me what had happened. I do not justify what you did. It has hurt many, not just your sister. A pause. But I understand why you did. Grief makes you act stupidly, and when denial and bargaining mix together, it is the worst of the worst. It felt as if Balios was being scolded, the disappointment in Croy's voice as he spoke on what he had done. His jaw clenched as guilt tightened its grip on his throat. But he felt something rest upon his hand. It was another hand, and a thumb rubbing gently and rhythmically over the base of his palm. I'm sorry, Bud. I'm sorry for not being there after she had gone. I'm sorry that I did not make enough effort to return sooner. Maybe what has happened to you would not have happened if I'd tried harder. No, I was selfish. I only thought of my own pain, and now my sister is in a lot of pain because of my idiocy. He paused, taking a deep breath as his breathing became heavier. And I don't blame you for not being there. You had other things to do to deal with me than to deal with me sulking. If I had just done what everyone else did, and just mourned, none of this would have happened. Balios' hand clenched into a fist, grabbing the sheet. His crow that was in his lap stood and formed itself back into a ring, probably not wanting to deal with this outburst. Zinnia wouldn't kill her. That's true! Z-Clips forever. So true. Legend has it, if you use the Crane game and you get Zinnia and Eclipse back to back, it makes it canon. The silence came again. The heart monitor. Nope. It's Taskmaster. Too bad. Croy's thumb had halted. You think I would rather be stuck at the core of the planet than deal with a man in mourning? His voice was quiet, almost a whisper, but it was appalled, angry. But it didn't seem completely directed to Balios. You think I would rather be alone for the gods know how long, unaware if Kron was okay? If I had crushed Light under that ceiling, if I had left anyone else in there, if you were all right? The ghost inhaled shakily, his voice almost raising towards the end, but he had caught himself. He swallowed and let quietness linger yet again, but attention had grown. Balios, no one mourns the same. You could not be like everyone else because you are not anyone else. You are Balios. You are an important person to many people. To me, believe it or not, you silly raccoon. A squeeze came to Balios' hand again, it being moved to being properly held in the other's own. There would have been consequences, no matter what path you choose. For yourself, for others, for Light, afterlife or not. But it has happened now. All you can do is move forward. As long as you and your sister stop being so stubborn about asking for help, it may be easier. Balios went quiet for a moment. He knew that Croy was right, but he still couldn't get over the fact that he hurt Light. Instead of mourning, he hurt her to bring her back. And he also had the repeating tone of Croy's disappointment going through his head. It reminded him of home. I know. I'm sorry, Father, Balios muttered under his breath. It is okay, Raccoon. Croy had a hint of hesitance in his words, but it soon changed with a sigh, his weight lifting from the bed. Balios then soon felt a pair of arms, gently yet cautiously moving around him in a hug, as if the ghost was afraid of hurting, scaring, or upsetting him again. His voice was much, much softer after being close to Balios' ear as he murmured once more, I am sorry. I am not angry. I worry for you. I do not want to see my boy suffering, especially not alone. The ghost pulled back a little, a hesitant hand moving to rest against the side of Balios' head. A small chuckle soon followed. You learned to give a dead man a heart attack. I will give you an applause for that. Balios froze. It's been a while since someone of a father figure has shown him love. He sniffled as if he was crying because deep down he was. He then reached out his hand to find Croy's shoulders, and then he pulled the ghost into a tight hug. The crow in the ring had popped back out and stared at the two as if they were strange before making its way to the nightstand and sassily glaring at the two for disturbing its peace. Croy would give a soft grunt, but would return the embrace soon after, being careful not to lean too much weight onto the injured demigod. Like the boy he saw as close as a son, he needed a hug. He needed to make up for lost time while he had the chance to do so. And he was glad he took this path instead of any other. Balios didn't pay much attention to Croy being gentle. He was just focused on how much he loved finally having a dad in his life who cared and didn't yell. I think today was a good day in the hospital for once, especially if it involved Belios. Alright, from Angel. Subtle talk about death, though no graphic description of it. When I saw Raccoon, it gave me flashbacks to when Belios first went by Raccoon in the beginning of the season. You promised to take care of me. Told yourself that you would be as cheerful as you could for my sake. I was looking through your stuff. I found the letter you wrote for me. I'm sorry I wasn't always there. You loved pink tulips. You still do, don't you? You always loved the color pink. Miss Light is worried about me. I can tell by the way she looks at me whenever I visit her. I feel bad that I'm worrying her. She tried her best to save you, you know? She took care of me while I spent time with you. I brought you new flowers. Someone other than me gave you one if I remember correctly. All I remember is hearing footsteps one night while I slept in your hospital room, and when I woke up, there was a new flower there. Just this time, not a pink tulip. I really wanted you to live. I ran. I fell a couple times, you remember? Who am I kidding? You can't hear me. I love you, Susu. Rest in peace. You did your best. I promise I'll make you proud. If Alfie and I meet again, I'll bring him to see you. You appreciated him for taking care of me when I couldn't do it myself. I'll bring Krufik to see you too. Maybe Eurillo, if he's at Frostfire when I go visit. You did good, Susu. I couldn't be more grateful for a big sister like you, even if we aren't biologically related. I'll never forget about you. I'll make sure no one else does. Thank you for being my sister, Susu. I'll miss you forever. I thought Susu died already. I guess I was mistaken. I have no... Angel, like, Susu, all that gang, keep dying over and over. Zephyr's Reasons Part 2. And I think this is the writing course assignment. This is the writing course assignment. The most you'll find is a little death near the end of it. Nothing went into detail. I apologize for the long doc, so don't absorb my atoms, please. You're fine. He was raised in an orphanage after losing his parents, where he learned to use basic spells. When he turned 12, a new boy entered the orphanage. His name was Zion, a relatively normal kid around his age. He was a white tiger hybrid with white ears on his head and a black and white tail. He was tall, maybe around 5'8", but Zephyr was already 6 foot. The two got along, and they even played in the backyard every day. This was until Knights walked into the orphanage. The owner of the place was teaching the kids basic spells and how to live once they reached adulthood. However, as the Knights entered the classroom, the teacher pointed to Zion and Zephyr. 2 Knights walked over to them and pulled them out of class. Bang! The Knights brought them to the palace. While most thought the palace was a place for royals, it was actually a place of learning, a school of magic of sorts. It was a place where teens who excelled in secret magic studies, also known as the teachers from the schools in the Moon-Touched Kingdom, submitted their students' grades. The best of them would be chosen for the palace studies. The two were split up. That was because of the path they chose. Zephyr wanted to work on his magic, while Zion wanted to be a knight. The two grew up in the palace. Zephyr started to learn more uncommon magic techniques, while Zion learned more physical attacks. While they both had to learn the subjects that the other didn't, they didn't really learn as much, but they did have to duel. To show the teachers in the King's Guard what they have learned, the duels were tiered like tournaments. Each student fought from their age level, from 16 up, and then to their power level. At 16, both Zion and Zephyr had reached the age and skill level to enter the tournament. They were both excited, and the two followed the group as hundreds of students went to an old ruin of the tournament. Zephyr and Zion made a deal before the event that no matter who wins or loses, they would remain friends. All the students began preparing for the tournament, and the rules were simple: no killing. The first one down is the loser. The mage students were allowed to choose staffs or wands to conjure their magic in, while knightly students got to pick weapons like swords and spears. Bang! The two watched as the tournament went on. Many failed, some passed, some got too nervous, they passed out and forfeited. And then it was time for Zion and Zephyr to fight. Zephyr had a wand in his hand. He didn't like it though, but it was better than a staff. Zion had a spear. Spear! The Archmage set off a flame, registering the start of the match. That's when Zion and Zephyr ran at Zephyr, swinging his spear to slice at Zephyr. He dodged, flicking his wand to send a fireball at him. Zion rolled out of the way. Burns were on his left arm. Zion ran at him again. Zephyr threw his wand at him. It made Zion stop, confused, before he fell back as Zephyr uppercutted him. Zion dropped his spear as he rolled back. He stood and was met face to face with the blade of the spear aimed to his face. Zephyr wasn't holding it. The spear was floating as Zephyr held his hand out. He made the blade spin and made the blunt end of the spear lower to Zion's chest and pushed him out of the circle. Zephyr had officially won the match. Zephyr continued progressing through the tiers of the tournament. By the end of it, the sun had set and the moon had risen. The final battle was between Zephyr and the Archmage. If he won, he would take the other's place. He would study under the mages of the King's Guard, and he'd be able to help the kingdom progress to a better future. The current Archmage was named Vima. She was a Reaper hybrid. She didn't have a staff or a wand. She was unarmed. Zephyr still held his friend's spear. It was a good luck charm in his case. Vima and Zephyr fought. Vima was obviously holding back. She didn't want to kill the kid. Zephyr was blocking with the spear. He kept it floating as he hated the texture of it, and after hours of fighting, Vima was pushed out of bounds. Zephyr had now won the title of Archmage. After the tournament, Zion and Zephyr met up, and they had a talk congratulating Zephyr on his win, though Zephyr could see the hint of disappointment. However, he decided not to bring it up. Vima came up to Zephyr and told him he'll be training under her, and that they start tomorrow. So Zephyr had the night to celebrate his win, but to not party too hard. He still had to be there on time. Zephyr agreed, and then he and Zion left. Bang! The next day, Zephyr went into the palace to meet with Vima. Today was the day he would start training for the next 4 years until the next tournament. Vima taught him everything she knew, gave him access to the hidden passages in the palace libraries for him to study ancient spells and sigils, as well as to get a deep dive into the gods the kingdom believed in. At the time, there were 6 gods: Sethos, Venos, the Watcher, Malus, Phanan, and Romus. The kingdom had believed they were the greatest peaceful beings in the world, that under their guided light they would bring peace. But that isn't what Zephyr paid attention to. It was the ripped pages, the crossed out words. He tried to ask Vima, but she said that they were old and brittle. He didn't believe it, but went with it. After a year of studying, Vima simply vanished, so Zephyr had to teach himself. He asked the other members of the King's Guard, the groups of individuals that run the kingdom, if he could travel to other kingdoms to gain more magical knowledge. They allowed him, even gave him a horse and carriage for his travels. Bang. I gotta get some water real quick. He left and began traveling to other kingdoms. The first stop was Nafate, the kingdom of riches and jewels. There he learned how to craft and imbue magic into jewelry. He also learned that some would imbue the souls of their loved ones to keep their memories throughout generations. Zephyr also studied in the libraries, his statues from the Moon-touched kingdom gaining him access to the restricted areas. He went through all of the books, checking them for anything about the gods. How many words? 2,500. The books had no ripped-out pages, no crossed-out words. It told the truth, that the peaceful gods were actually all gods of chaos. They were only here to be eyes for higher beings. He tried to ask the kings more about the higher divines, but they only mentioned that it was ancient history and that no one should dwell in the past. So after a year, Zephyr left. He took note of what he found and learned and went to the next kingdom. Clank. Emberfield, the kingdom of flames and ash, was said to be an abandoned ruin after a mad king's red raids, but as he entered the kingdom's center, it was actually populated by red panda hybrids. Though many believed these were kind people, these were people of war, and few were friendly. Others threw objects at him, telling him to leave, but he didn't stop until he reached the palace, a castle over a volcano. He went to speak to the queen, but was blocked off until the queen herself walked to him. He tried to explain that he wanted to learn the ways of the kingdom as well as learn their past. The queen allowed him. The queen was an elegant woman. She knew how to get what she wanted and knew what others would want, but she assumed Zephyr just wanted power, so she made a deal with him. She'll teach him everything about the kingdom, and in return, he marries her. Her kingdom didn't like that there was only a queen ruling. They believed that the kingdom needed a strong king. So Zephyr agreed. He thought he could just have her make the decisions while he did what he needed to do. So she taught him the values of the kingdom, how to use flames as more than a weapon, but more as part of the body. She allowed him into the libraries, with her watchful eyes of course, As he read, he learned about the primordials, beings larger than the world, the biggest being an arachnid. He kept reading and was learning about how primordials made the world peaceful and kind, but that the lesser gods had rebelled, leading the world into chaos it is now. Oh yeah, no, I get it. The queen would watch and listen as he would ramble on about things he was learning or what his cause was. She realized this man wasn't after power, but just a peaceful life without lies. By the end of the year, after being part of Emberfield, the queen told him to forget about the marriage, that she was just happy to help him. But Zephyr said he made a deal and he'll come back to keep his word. So he left and took the note of the stuff he learned and went to the next kingdom. Bang. Oak Hallow, the kingdom of the elves, was where he learned how to harness soul magic, or in other words, the true magic of the being. Everyone had different soul magic. His was lightning. The elves... This should be, like, a series. There is so much stuff in here. I get that you're trying to, like, give a whole backstory for this character, but, like, you need to, like, write a book. This could be, like, 30,000 words, 60,000 words right here. Virgil said the same thing. Yeah. Oh my gosh, CJ, thank you for the gift sub. 2 era guys. That's so sweet. There's beef and pets? Beef and pets? Hold on. Why is she like that? What the heck? Why is she like that? What is she doing? She's so silly. Thank you, Fluffy. What is she doing? Can someone make that like I feel like there needs to be an emoji. Someone make that emoji right now. Fantastic. Love beef. She's so silly. You finally got gift subs to work. In return, Zephyr taught the elves how to use blades instead of magic and bows. After a few months, the rulers allowed him to search the library, where he learned about the bards and their relations. They were the guardians of the Tree of Life. The primordials made them so that they would keep the tree from harm, since the lesser gods strayed from the path. He also learned about the blood bard and how he strayed for love. But he didn't care much about that. That's Balios, isn't it? Right? Isn't it? No. That's not Balios. Something related to Balios. But he didn't care much about that. He finally had all the truth. The Moontouch Kingdom was making the lesser gods false idols, but he didn't know why. After a year, he left and went back to his kingdom to add everything together, make sure he was right about the King's Guard. When he returned, he locked himself in his study, going over everything he learned, piecing together every detail he learned. Then it hit him. The King's Guard wanted control, wanted people to believe them. They made up stories that they could control, making the peasants believe that the kingdom was a haven of safety. But he had to keep this hidden. He couldn't let anyone know what he found until he thought of a way to confront the guard himself, but he never would. Balios' ancestor. Right, that's what it is. I was like, I knew it had something to do with Balios. Zion, though one of the many losers of the tournament 4 years ago, had become a loyal palace knight. He was still jealous when he went through Zephyr's study when he was away. He found his notes and thought that Zephyr was making up lies to corrupt the kingdom, so he took them to the King's Guard, showing that Zephyr was trying to plant seeds of hate towards the kingdom. The rulers brought Zephyr to the palace hall and told him he was banished for trying to spread false hate of the kingdom, that he was nothing but an orphan, and how dare he try to corrupt the kingdom. So Zephyr left, heading back to Emberfield. Bang! When he reached the Flame Kingdom, he was welcomed by the Queen. He told her what happened and how he wanted to get back at the Moontouched Kingdom. The Queen told him that she had to keep her word and allowed him to use her army for the rescue missions. It took months until Emberfield had its first march on the Moontouched Kingdom. Zephyr had taken a small group to gather people through underground ratways. They had only gotten a few people out before the King's Guard put the kingdom on lockdown. When Zephyr returned to Emberfield, he beat himself up for not getting enough people out of there. About a year after being banished, they had planned another strike, this time using more forceful tactics to get people out. You think it's called a blood bard because their tunes are so sick their fingers bleed. Hell yeah. Barging through walls using the ratways as their transport and escape, they had succeeded in getting a good number of people out of the kingdom, but they had also lost a few. The group had to fight back as well, even when Zephyr saw Zion. He still cared about him. but he had chosen the wrong side, so they fought one last battle, and Zion fell. Zephyr took his soul gem to keep his memory. When Zephyr came back, Zephyr preached that the king's guard was corrupt, and that they were spreading false information about the divine. He didn't force people to stay, but since most had friends still in the kingdom, they did. 2 years after the banishment, they had planned another strike. This was going to be a larger one where they would finally get all of the people out, and finally, he would marry the queen like he said he would. They were already making wedding plans. The bond forged out of a deal was now a bond of actual love. But happiness is never permanent. Not in the Smile SMP! The day before the strike, Zephyr woke up to people panicking. When he left his tent, there were only a few people left behind in the camp. The rest had just vanished. He immediately blamed the Moon-touched kingdom. He was beyond pissed. He was exhausted, hurt, and enraged. Years of his search for the truth, of him trying to take down the corrupt government in that kingdom, just for it to end like this. Maybe a dozen people left in his camp. He looked around. Everything was a blur. Rage filled his veins because... Also, I really like that not very many people actually remember that it's only 90% of people, not everyone on a planet but one person. So many people are like, everyone on my entire planet disappeared. Yeah, this is what the Great Anomaly is like. Thank you. Rage filled his veins, causing sparks to fly out of his hands. They hit other tents, causing them to be set ablaze, but he did not care. And then the queen tried to run to him, to calm him, only to be met with a spear through the heart! I thought she disappeared. The spear flew back to him as many others did. They circled him, and as he wandered the campsite, anything that moved, friend or enemy, was met with death. And each time the soul gem would float out of the victim's body and float to him and into a sack over his shoulder. And when nothing moved, he walked away. Bang. What's the banging? That's what I want to know. What's the banging supposed to be? The tunes are so sick, other people's ears bleed. Oh, next tab. Okay. Sorry. Bang! A floating hammer banged onto stone as if it shaped into a body. The sounds echoing in the crypt underneath MTK. Each back set flashbacks into Zephyr's mind, but he continued reading from the spellbook in his hand. The hammer moved to the side as Zephyr pulled out a soul gem, one he had held onto for a very long time. It was Zion's. Zephyr raised his hand as the gem floated into the chest of the stone body. He watched as it settled. Then he raised his right hand, making the hammer float above the gem. Then it slammed down onto it, shattering it. He then used his lightning to mold the shards into the stone. He then went back to the book and chanted. The sigils on his cloak, which was now lying on the side of the table, began to glow as the lights dimmed, as the golem awoke. It stood up from the table and stood next to 3 other shorter ones. Zephyr dusted off his hands as he set the book and hammer down on the table. I wish there was a faster way to do this, but you stoneheads don't have the sense to do manual labor yet. He looked at the 4 golems to the side of him. I just need to wait for the conscious part of the soul to reach the head so I can manipulate them to my control. Then when I give my speech Tuesday, people can actually see that you're not idiots. He sighed and rubbed his face and looked at the large amount of stone to his other side. Only 11 more, then that should be all. I see. I see. Oh boy, that was a doozy. A lot of information all at once, but now we understand more about Zephyr. All because of a burger? I want a burger now. I want a good burger. Pick up pit stop. Kron huffed heavily as they reached the beach, dragging the boat halfway up to the edge before giving up and flopping down under their butt. Sand kicked up around them when they did so, which blew back at them from the wind carried in by the sea. Traveling between SUNC and Kindlegrim was exhausting, especially because they had to change between being in a boat and walking over land, partially sneaking. The guard force, from what they've heard, hasn't done anything yet, but they weren't going to risk it by being careless and prancing along. This was only for a quick stop before they drop over to an upcoming faction meeting anyway, albeit begrudgingly. They had heard something happening with Zinnia, and they wanted to make sure she was okay. That was the only reason they were going. But aside from that, they were just dropping to their house to pick up one of their teddies for Waters. After the events the other day at work, they thought that maybe something soft like that could help comfort him, like it helps Kron. So with that reminder, they got back up with a determined huff and began running up the side of the mountain, using a path worn into it by their own use. The silent atmosphere curled around them like they were walking through a curtain, the garden of Kindlegrim the same as always. It brought a little ease to them that nothing had changed, but a lingering doubt still weighed on them. They hadn't gotten to their house yet. They were quietly prepared for anything, well aware of what kind of people tend to find it without their effort to assist. They reached the reddened opening, feeling along the trunk and roots, getting their hood caught on a vine briefly before pulling free with a small laugh to themselves. They rounded the area a few times before hopping into the opening and sliding down the vine into the confines of their home, a wave of excitement overcoming them. Nothing had changed. Everything was exactly how they left it the last time they were here. Kron did a series of excited stomps against the ground before rushing about, taking in the home they loved. They found food that they quickly ate despite it being stale bread. They were hungry and they were too excited to care at the time. They replaced the burnt remains on the campfire with fresh firewood to burn if needed the next time they came by. They even found their old clothes. Still bloody and unwashed, but they didn't care. They quickly changed out of the clothes that they had been wearing since the winter ball and into their shorts and turtleneck jumper, pausing for a moment to feel over their birthmark on their chest for an absent-minded moment, feeling something odd. But they quickly brushed over it and pulled the jumper on properly, letting out a happy squeal into the collar, having pulled up their mask to bury their face into it. They were over the moon with joy at the familiar texture and warmth, if you couldn't tell. After some more time, Kron managed to wrangle himself back on track, hurrying over to the small trapdoor entrance that hid their sleeping nook, crawling within and closing it behind them. They plopped themselves down on their bed, dust poofing up from the covers, but they didn't mind. Their attention was locked onto the barrel at the end of the bed, diving down onto their stomach to root through it, revealing the stuffed toys within. They remembered they hid them in there so no one would steal them, along with to prevent them from getting damaged. They brought out the scuba diver doll Mr. Fisherman had given them a while ago, turning on the light in its head and setting it beside them to help them see better. It was fairly dark after all. All the candles they had in there were burnt down to the hardened wax lumps on the shelves and the walls. Finally, after a solid 10 minutes, their digging came out fruitful. Kron's hand rose from the barrel, a teddy in their grasp, and a big silly grin across their face. A dark blue and silver squid teddy with dangly tendrils stared back at them with its singular beady button eye as they held it. Its main body changed between a fuzzy texture and pure fluff, the wiggly legs having little structure and taking on a squishy texture. The colors of the stuffed creature reminded Kron of Water's tactical gear and usual clothes colors, and it was also a sea creature. It was practically made for this gift. They giggled in happiness and tucked the squid into their inside pocket before packing up, turning off the light in the doll's head before shutting the lid. They soon tucked their knees beneath them and began to crawl right back out, pulling their mask right back down in the process. They were buzzing with the thought of giving this to their boss. They really hoped he liked it, and couldn't help but wonder how he would react when they gave it to him. Maybe they should wait until after the faction meeting when they go to work to give it to him. They don't want to embarrass him if they gave it to him when there was a load of people around. He probably shouldn't be out of the medical room, so he might even be at the... Ah, there you are! The voice made Kron pause as they were halfway out the trapdoor. Taking note of a long train from what they realized was a dress in front of them. Slowly, they turned their head upwards, realizing that it was Marana standing before them, her hands clasped in front of her, and a soft smile upon her face. The goddess slowly leaned down and took Kron's hand, urging them all the way out from the nook and up on their feet, taking the side of their face in her other. I thought I heard you moving around somewhere. Hello, Kron. Hello, Marana. Kron's greeting was spoken in a mutter, their face tilting away from the woman's touch and turning towards the ground. They were suddenly remembering their previous interaction with Marana, their shoulders slowly tensing up at the memory. Marana didn't appear to take offense to this, slowly pulling away and gazing around their home. Her hands came to rest on her hips with a small tss noise. Look at the state of this place, dark and dusty. That won't do at all. After those words were spoken to herself, she gave an almost lazy wave of her hand, and the previously melted candles and dimmed lanterns were reversed as if made new, the bunker being enveloped with a warm light. Small clouds of dust were lifted from the surfaces around the place, flying out in a single file line through the entrance in the ceiling. A cloud puffed through Kron's face, making them sneeze. They weren't sure if it was on purpose or not. I brought you some food, dear. Goodness knows what you have left in here. Marana's interruption was met with a quiet huff from Kron, who suddenly followed her as she began to move about their home, filtering through their chests and setting up one of their furnaces they had placed near the bookshelves. With a swish of her hand, a basket of carrots appeared atop the stove, and she suddenly looked over her shoulder with a small kind of smirk. I brought your favorite. It is carrots, right? I remember you ate a load of them when me and my dear Milena took you in. Kron hesitated, their fingers going to loose the button on their trench coat as they gave a quick glance to the carrots, eyeing them with suspicion. At the mention of Milena, they grew more wary, remembering being almost dragged down into the ocean by her. They shook their head, trying not to dwell on that. That, right. Milena not here, right? Their tone came off a little more hopeful than they had intended, finding themselves glancing to the entrance just in case, ears twitching and straining to hear any off noises over the sound of the furnace fire. Is that why Frog was given so many carrots? I don't like this one either. Corn pasta. I've never had corn pasta before. It sounds so interesting. I'm setting medieval autocorrect on my phone. I pray for everyone who has to deal with me now. That's crazy. You're given a chest full of carrots. That's concerning. But also funny. Oh no, she chose to stay home. I understand you aren't too fond of her after the last time you saw her. Marana took on a bit of disappointed tone as she turned back to the stove, magicking up more food like bread and meat to put in the furnace, while also cutting up the carrots into circles on a cutting board on top. I don't know what got into her. She'd been so sick at the time, the poor thing. She does feel terrible for hurting you, Kron. Kron's anxiousness softened a bit as they listened to what the goddess was telling them, a little guilt of their own welling up in the back of their mind. They started to feel bad for smashing a bottle against her head, and then throwing another one in her face. Oh, is she feeling better now? Marana let out a small, audible sigh, one arm crossing over her stomach while the other rested its elbow on top, her face resting in her palm. The knife cutting the carrots continued to cut as she watched with a partially sad expression on her face. Better than what she was before, yes, but she hasn't been eating much at all. She just feels so guilty, but she doesn't want to scare you if she comes to try to apologize. Then a small spark lit up in her eyes, and she slowly turned to face Kron, her hand moving to prop against the edge of the furnace, the other draped over her hip. Yet another smile creeped up onto her face, a rather strange switch-up from the previous expression, but it was brushed over. Hey, I've been meaning to throw a celebration for Milena, to make her feel better. Maybe if you came today, we could cheer her up and bring back that beautiful smile of hers. The idea made Kron perk up, as if about to agree, but they soon felt the weight of the squid teddy in their pocket, reminding them of what they even came back to their home for, and what they were going to do after. They shrunk back a little, their hands moving to hold one part of their trench coat. I would, but I have go meeting soon. I am sorry. What meeting? The weekly one the people of this planet hold? Marana scoffed and laughed, shaking her head as her magic moved the finished food onto a plate that also appeared out of thin air. I want Freya to meet Marana. They could have a killer baking class. But when she realized Kron was serious, confusion came over her. You're serious? Why would you want to go in one of those meetings again? You seemed very, very upset the last one you went to. Well, it's important to go, you know? I want to learn what happening about. Marana was quiet before giving a soft hum, her face turning downwards towards the food she'd prepared. I thought you were going to say you wanted food from them. Yeah, go eat something, Frog! She didn't seem too impressed, and before Kron could realize and question her how she even knew about the last faction meeting they were at, she spoke again, clasping her hands together. Alright then, if you insist on going, you may, but we can hold the celebration at a later date. I will come get you when it's time. Is that alright with you, dear? Kron gave a hesitant nod, which earned a small clap from the goddess, which turned the previously plated food into a container, which whizzed into Kron's hand as she approached. Excellent! I suppose I will help you get to this meeting, otherwise you'll be late. Wait, what? Before Kron could process anything, the skirt of Marana's long gown was tossed around them, making them yelp. But when the cream-colored fabric fell away, they stumbled in a circle and found themselves outside the bright wooden building of the Keepers of Solace building, a few people wandering their way in. They took a second, blinking in confusion before turning around sharply, expecting to see the tall woman behind them. But instead they were met with nothing but the air. They took a small step forward to whip their head around, to try to find her, but a small squeak under their hoof brought their attention downwards. On the ground was a stuffed toy of a jellyfish, colored a dark brownish red with black and gold accents, its tendrils spread out around it into the grass. Kron quickly bent down and scooped it up in their arms, feeling its weight and softness, before giving it a small squeeze and tucking it into their pocket for safekeeping, the stuffed creature quietly squeaking as they made their way into the building. I'm a gluttonous creature. Me too. Me too. The other day, so you know, like, pasta, boxes of, like, Barilla pasta, right? Noodles? I made a whole box. And I split it in half because I didn't have anywhere to put it. So I was like, I just gotta put it down for a second, give the other half to Virgil. You can eat what you can, put the rest away. And then I had already eaten dinner, mind you. I ended up eating the entire bowl this big of pasta filled to the top. It was Alfredo pasta. I mean, it was so good. How many people actually got the assignment done? Not a lot. I didn't. And I asked for an extension. And we got an extension. Because I think it's like having to do it as an assignment rather than just for fun is like completely blocking me. I'm not even halfway done. To be fair, it's gonna be like a 3,000 word document, but everyone gets an extension. Everyone gets an extension, not just me. Because other people also have like multiple tests to do this week, so I was like, hey. This one has an art piece. Ooh. Or Bob's thing has an art piece. Okay, for Bob's thing, blood, panic attack, swearing. How many more do we have? Oh boy, I always underestimate. I'm like, this is only gonna take 2 hours. It does not take 2 hours. Because everyone writes 7 pages every single document. Not a bad thing. Zinnia needs Bob's help. I'm sitting at the desk of the library, but for the first time in a while I am taking a break. I'm reading a fictional story while drinking a cup of tea. It's a dystopian story about a group of heroes trying to survive a 3-headed monster that is the size of a storm and consumes everything in its path. That sounds familiar. Sorry for it, thank God I didn't fully edit the beach episode. It's an hour and 45 minutes without editing. We're gonna have to do a whole... If it's gonna be that long, or like pretty long, I will just watch it on a separate stream or something. I'll record myself reacting to it. It is fun getting to take my mind off of my work and read about fictitious warriors who never give up despite all odds being against them. Just like these protagonists, I too will never give up on my quest to regain my wings and help people. As I turn the page to begin the last chapter, I'm once again bathed in unwanted sunlight. This has been happening all too often these last few weeks. I look up to see who has unexpectedly graced the library with their presence. My eyes meet the face of a woman I have gotten to know quite well recently, Zinnia. Despite me recognizing her, she looks very different from her usual self. Her normal smile and bubbly attitude are replaced with an expression of distress. She walks over to me with a determination and seriousness I have never seen in her before. When she makes it to my desk, before I can give any type of greeting, she blurts out her request. Where are the books on Anathi? Feeling slightly offended, I respond in equal fashion. Well, hello to you too! I crossed my arms to further drive home my point. Zinnia, picking up on what I was trying to portray, quickly apologizes. I'm sorry, Bob. I just need to fix this as quickly as possible. She looks like an unruly ball of emotions, switching between worry, guilt, anger, and determination on her face. She looked like a complete stranger to me. Not wanting to raise her stress any higher than it was, I answered her original question. Thank you, and I understand. The books on all kinds of species are over there in that aisle. We have plenty on Anathi. Zinnia's eyes immediately dart over to where I'm pointing. Before she can get too far towards the aisle, though, I ask her, What do you need to fix? Anything I can help you with? Zinnia looks ashamed now as her eyes meet the floor. Almost too faint to hear, she whispers, I had Eclipse, and then I let her go. She quickly clarifies with an on accident. I look shocked to hear that name. I knew how dangerous Eclipse was. She nearly killed Comet after all, but I hadn't heard of any encounters with her in a while, so I was reasonably shocked to hear this news. My response failed to hide this as I asked questions a little too quickly. What? When did this happen? Did she hurt you? Zinnia looks slightly relieved to hear that I am not mad or upset, comfortable enough to recount what happened. No, she didn't hurt me. I caught her by accident yesterday, but when I went to get help, she was gone when we got back. She continued avoiding eye contact, ashamed by the words she said. In my attempt to comfort her, I squat down so she is forced to look at me. I take her hands in mine and I say, It's not your fault. She still looks upset, but I can tell my words helped slightly. After putting together why she came for the book on Anathi, I decide I won't let her do it alone. I am coming with you to capture Eclipse. Zinnia looks horrified now, eyes widening and head shaking back and forth vigorously. She replies, No, no, no! I won't let anyone else get hurt. I have to do this by myself. I made the mess. I have to fix it. I won't let you. As she speaks, her words become more and more desperate. I'm going to have to be very careful with my justification, otherwise Zinnia will just be more upset. I choose my words carefully as I say, Zinnia, I have been across the universe, faced countless dangers, and yet you see me standing here talking to you. You know why that is? It's because I know how to survive. I will make sure we both get home safely. That is my promise to you. She looks calmer now, but still not totally convinced. I continue. You won't need those books because I have enough knowledge about Anathi in here. I point to my head as I say this. We also have both been training together, so if there's anyone who will be able to fight alongside you well, it's me. To nail my argument home, I say, and if anything bad happens, I will message Comet right away. Zinnia, being satisfied, agrees to let me come along. I am fairly confident she would have gone this way. Anathi are extremely intelligent, and this is the most tactical option for her to go. All other routes lead to some sort of civilization, I say. Zinnia had just led us to where she'd encountered Eclipse. I had tried looking around for any signs of Anathi blood. It would give us a pretty distinct trail after all, but I couldn't find any of the pinkish liquid I was looking for. It makes sense, I guess. Zinnia said there wasn't much of a fight. As we started heading in the direction I suggested, I looked over to see that Zinnia has not picked her head up once. I decide to break the silence by saying, What's wrong? Not lifting her head, she replies, It's all my fault. I lost Eclipse. I had her. I could have stopped all this pain and this suffering tonight, but I was an idiot. I'm sorry. You had to clean up my mess. I feel pity for her. She puts too much blame on herself. I know that whatever encouragement I say to her will go in one ear and out the other, so I try a different strategy. After pausing to think about this, I say, Can I tell you a story? She looks at me, confused, but doesn't protest, so I take it as my sign to continue. Oh, the reading. Yeah. I would recommend putting it, since it's like a long-term event, put it in like a little series maybe or something. I don't know. Anathi blood is pink. It's not like bright pink, but it's like, it's pinker than human blood. It's like, what does this look like? This is like red, right? I don't think I have anything that's like the pink color. It's like this is too pink. This is too pink. It's like somewhere in the middle. Anyway. I was once on this planet, Orin. There was a species known as the Drali, and they had this huge city, and it was well guarded too. Around most of the city, they had walls and artillery prepared for any sort of strike. But on one small section of the border, they had almost no defenses. I could see Zinnia slowly relaxing as she got more into the story. The only way to access this part was across a deadly gorge with only a thin bridge connecting the two sides. So the leaders of the city decided that all they needed for defenses here were 2 guards who would watch the bridge. If any enemy tried to enter the city from this way, one of the guards would stay up and put a wall to stop the advance, while the other one would go get help. Zinnia was now completely entranced in the story. This system worked for a while. They never had to worry about the bridge, but then the Drali got engulfed in deadly war. As more and more were lost to this war, the leadership had to make a decision to change the rules about the bridge. They decided that only 1 guard was necessary. He could both put up the wall and go get help. So one day, a young Drali, just barely an adult, was tasked with guarding this bridge. He was told the simple instructions, and he listened well. He didn't want to mess this up after all. So he did as he was told and waited at the bridge. As I continued telling the story, I see we are heading towards the mountains. We should be able to track Eclipse in there, but I have to finish this first. I can make 2 versions of the video, one for normal speed and the other sped up. That's fair. I mean, like I said, I don't mind like having a separate stream where it's just a watch party of your video. Because if it's an hour long, hour and a half even, like that's fine. We'll watch all of it because I want to see all of the books and stuff, because that's interesting. I'll just set a different, like I'll like have a Wednesday or whatever, where we just watch it. It'll be fun. I'm getting cooked for having an allergic reaction. What are you having an allergic reaction to? Mild allergic reaction. Is it to cornbread? Oh, my headphones are dying. Fun dip? No way you're having an allergic reaction to fun dip. Unless Smith is lying. Blue fun dip? Really? Why are you allergic to blue fun dip? What even is blue fun dip? Is it like the icing stuff? Blue fun dip. That stuff? This is nothing. I thought it was like.
Okay, I'm here to defend myself.
Hi, comment. Oh, hold on. I can't hear. Hold on. Hold on. I can't hear. I can't hear. My headphones. I replaced the thing in it. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Now I can hear you.
Oh, so she can't hear me. I'm just gonna start talking shit.
No, no, I can hear you now. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, so I ate the. Okay, so Myth mentioned yesterday in the staff chat being like, "Hey, I'm having fun dip," and I'm like, "Hell yeah, I haven't had fun dip in a while. I'm gonna go to Walgreens when I'm on my lunch break at work and get some fun dip because I have it for Valentine's Day. I have a red fun dip at work as a little treat. I take one home. I take the blue one home because I was like, oh, I ate the red one today. I'm gonna have a blue one for dessert. So I had a blue one, and then I finished eating it. I'm sitting in VC with everyone, and you know I'm recovering from a cold, right? So I've already been coughing and stuff like that. But then I start realizing, oh, my throat and tongue feel spicy. That's not normal. And then I start coughing more because I feel like the tingling in my throat. And then, I'm like, hey, I might be having an allergic reaction to the fun dip. And people start clowning on, well, they're concerned, for starters. But then once they find out I'm okay, they start clowning on me, right? Isn't the blue one jalapeno flavored? Bob. What the fuck?
Why would it be
No.
jalapeno flavored? It's.
You know what?
It's
For
blue.
fun dip, that doesn't sound very fun at all.
Thank you, Fluffy, for somebody
Someone
having.
just came in and said, "God, I love fluffy muffins."
Said I love Fluffy
Who
muffins.
are you? Solus Ragna.
First chat, only chat.
You're playing Zomboid with
I'm
him.
playing
Oh, okay.
Zomboid. Okay.
We all love Fluffy.
I too love Fluffy Muffin. I agree. We all love Fluffy.
Well, thank you for stopping
Anyways.
by. I hope you feel better, comment. Unless you had more to say.
We ran out of. Oh wait, you're holding me in your hand. Oh, you're
I
patting
am.
me. Oh, that's very sweet. I will say. I can't. So I eventually got to the point where I'm like, yo, I should probably tell my parents about this. So I def it in VC and I go downstairs and I'm like, hey, I think I'm having an allergic reaction. My mom starts to freak out slightly. She sits me down. She tells my dad to go find Benadryl because I was like, I probably should take a Benadryl just in case. Turns out we're out of Benadryl. Why do you want to squash me?
Is it possible to
Oh my
squash
God.
comment?
Anyways. Turns out
100 bits. $1.
100
I'll
bits.
squash comment.
$1. Okay. Okay. So we're out of Benadryl. So I start going. So and I'm like, okay, that's not good. I mean, I could. It's like only mild, so it's not that bad, but it's very uncomfortable. So then my mom goes, hey, doesn't NyQuil have antihistamines in it? We check, and it does have antihistamines in it. Nowhere near the amount of Benadryl. So I popped a NyQuil pill, and I'm hoping for the best. Apparently my life is worth $1. I know.
It is. That is Virgil's
This
alt
is-
account.
I guess this is
Who
my-
this?
This is my...
Someone's thirsting for Fluffy over here.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you live.
I'm
you
telling
get to
Virgil.
live.
I get to live for now.
Virgil has seen me do much more weird
let
things,
me-
Bob. Sorry, continue.
Let me know if you need me to come back to get squashed.
Yeah. Does anyone want a squash comment?
I guess
Just
that's what
$1.
It's a steal. Come on, I know you want to. I know you want to. Unfortunately, doubloons do not count.
The balloons do not count. How much is the squash Fluffy? $1,000.
Okay, I see how you value your admins.
Hey, Fluffy just, you know, Fluffy is more profitable.
Fluffy is more... You hearing this, Bob? Comet is the only good admin. Not according to Freya. Apparently it's Fluffy. $1 you save a child, but $1 you squash a comment. First time chatter Nelly Blind, why are we researching Fun Dip?
Well, okay, comment, you want to explain?
Is this my legacy?
Apparently
Okay.
it is.
Fun Dip. I'm having a mild allergic reaction to the blue Fun Dip. I'm loaded up on NyQuil, admin of Fun Dip. This is my legacy is just gonna be the fucking door and Fun Dip, and I hate it.
You, can
You
sit on
guys
my
only
shoulder.
care about me. You guys only profit off of me when I'm dying. I care about your misery comment. Thank you, Fluffy. Ah! I'm getting squished.
Alright, comment, I gotta squish you before you go. No one paid $1, but I'm sorry.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Okay. Let me know when you need me to start screaming.
Oh, wait, hold on. Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1. Someone please clip that. Okay, back to what we were reading. The young Jolly was then faced with an enemy coming across the bridge. He leapt into action, following instructions to a T. This was surprising for him, as no enemy had dared cross in ages. Despite this, he didn't waver and successfully put up the wall. The young guard trusted the wall to stop this enemy, so he went on alert to alert the others. But by the time he got back, the wall was in pieces. The enemy had gotten into the city. Many died because of it, before they could stop the danger. The leadership blamed the young guard. They claimed he was entirely at fault. Zinnia looked sad now, clearly making the connection between the guard and her. But the story wasn't over. I lean in and say, what they won't tell you is that the fault really lies in them, for putting this young, inexperienced guard in that situation. They chose to fight the war that put him there. They built the system he used, and they taught him to trust that very system blindly. It was not the young guard's fault, just like it is not your fault. You were put in a terrible situation and made a call based on what you knew. No one should blame you for that. Zinnia looks up at me, tears forming in her eyes, and wraps her arms around me as she buries her head in my chest. I return the embrace, holding her tight. It feels like if I could just keep her here, she wouldn't have to face the cruelty of this world. Aww. She shouldn't have to face this shit show alone. I hear a small whisper. Thank you. She lets me go, sniffles a little, and says in a crackly tone that gives away she was just crying, "Let's catch this son of a bitch." As we finally make it to the base of the mountain, I see a footprint in the snow. It doesn't look out of the ordinary and could be from anyone, except that it has 6 toes. Only one species on this planet that I know of has 6 toes. Anathi. I feel like there are other species on this planet that probably have 6 toes. Maybe not. Also, of course you would know. You would be studying people's toes, Bob. Drink soda, Myth. You know what I will? Bob, toes studier. Exactly. That's what the dude before the fictional story he was reading, it was Encyclopedia of Toes. It has to be eclipses. I point this out to Zinnia and she gets excited. As we head further up the mountain above the tree line, I can see a storm cloud heading towards us. It is still a little while away, but it could be dangerous if we are still here when it hits. We continued following the tracks we found. Eclipse had a large head start on us, but she has to stop and rest, just like the rest of us. Hopefully, we can catch up to her while she rests. Zinnia is moving much faster than me. She wants this more than anyone right now. Despite my story, she still holds the weight of the problem on her shoulders. After an hour or so of searching, it feels like we have been led in circles. Maybe Eclipse knew we'd follow her, and this is a form of diversion. Just as I'm thinking this, I feel a snowflake hit the top of my head. I look up to see that the clouds I had been worried about earlier have now moved to right above our heads. I warn Zinnia. We should probably head back now. We don't want to get stuck in this storm. It could get dangerous. Zinnia looked at me with a fire in her eyes and replied, "No, I will not lose her again. This is the best shot we've got. We're close. I can feel it." The storm has picked up now. It has become hard to see, and Eclipse's tracks are almost indiscernible now. I continue to protest, but nothing can stop Zinnia's determination. One step is all it takes. I step on the wrong piece of ice, and suddenly I'm falling down the mountain. I'm not hurt, but I can't see where I am. I call out to Zinnia, but I don't hear any reply. I begin wandering aimlessly. Is this my fault? I should have stopped her. Why did I insist on going? I could have held her back. I'm shocked out of my thoughts by a scream, a guttural sound of pure fear, a high-pitched one, too. It has to be Zinnia. I start running in the direction of the sounds, as fast as I can on this icy terrain. I don't know what I will find, Eclipse, or maybe a different enemy. Either way, I take out my knife. I've started carrying it ever since Comet started training me. As I get closer to where I am sure I heard the scream, I don't see anything at first. I finally find Zinnia's footprints, but I can't find her. I still hear something screaming, albeit much quieter. I can't discern what is being said, though. As I follow it further, I slowly make out her screaming, "Bob! Help! And I'm slipping!" I sprint at full speed. As I'm about 40 yards away, I see her. Her hands are holding onto the edge of the cliff while she dangles. No, I will not lose another friend. My legs move involuntarily as I drop my knife at the exact same time. My feet dig into the ice with such force that I can hear it cracking. Time almost slows for these 5 seconds. I watch as her fingers inch ever so slowly to the edge. No, no, no. I can't lose her. Anyone else, please. Take me instead. Nothing works. As I slide to a stop at the edge, I am forced to watch as she falls to the ground 30 feet away. My arms stretched out, just a second too slow to grab her. Her back hits the ground first, with her head just afterwards. A small pool— Oh my god, no! A small pool of blood starts forming around her. No! That's me right now. Without even thinking, I jumped down. My grief took control of every muscle in my body as I launched myself over the edge. I landed feet first right next to her. A small crater formed where I landed. My legs hurt, but I can tell they aren't broken. I immediately grab Zinnia. There's a gash on the back of her head, covering me in red liquid. I hold her close as I start carrying her towards where I believe the hospital is. The run to the building is a blur to me as adrenaline took over. I burst through the doors. I know, right? What? My normally white shirt is now an unsightly pinkish red. I am still holding the girl close to my chest. The nurses swarm me, and one brings a gurney over. I place her down and try following them. They hold me back, screaming at me that I can't go in there. As they finally calm me down, my body crumbles next to the wall. If I had been faster, I could have saved her. I could have caught her. She was there because of me. I promised her I'd get us home safe. It was all my fault. I failed. I failed again. If I had my wings, I could have saved her. I need my wings. I need to be faster. I need to be better. I failed. I am a failure. I run out of the hospital. I know what I need to do. I will get my wings back. Oh my god! Is Zinnia okay? There's art that goes with this, apparently. Also, this is so cute, by the way. The freaking chocolate! Ah! I love freaking Fraicello. I love them. Okay, where's the...
Hey.
Huh?
I'm starting some mac and cheese.
Pretzel's making mac and cheese. Yes! No! This is her falling. No! Oh, it's so sad. I hope this means that she is going to be okay. Okay, back to Lord Tuesday. Rest in peace. That's the end of her? No. No, you're not allowed. Not allowed. Cece has to live. And if she dies, you can't bring her back. Skull broken open. Frog, why are you so hungry right now? No. Cece? No. Don't say that. Do not say that. If you do have a new character, though, I have a lesbian for you. Okay. Okel's Log, 18. Give me the lesbian. You can make a second character besides Cece or Zinnia, who is living. Bagel is writing the doc about losing Zinnia on the operating table. You have to be fucking with me, please. I love Zinnia. Do not kill her. I'm gonna get yelled at from upstairs. No, you cannot. Please. Don't kill Zinnia, please. Don't kill You have please be messing with us, please. Please, I beg. She has to keep coming to the baking class, please. Okay, no, because I know she's alive because she came to the baking class. She came to the baking class. Frog. Only the goo can bring her back. The goo killed me for a second. I'm sorry. Okay. I can't at the goo. Okay. The goo and frog being so fiending for food. Take that chocolate before it happens a third time. Shut up. Alright, locking in. Stop saying it's just goo. I'm not pressing the button again. Okel's Log, number 18. I have the Sword of Blight. The familial ties of Milan between me and Okena are strengthened. He resides in New Harmonia, and soon he will forever rest there as well. Once Okena is dead, the only thing left standing in my way is Freya. She will, of course, expect me to turn myself in. After a long debate on it, I've decided I will not. For life in the Keepers of Prison Walls is nothing but a waste. That's expected. Freya even expected that. I shall make the trip very soon, and soon everything will change. Goo pizza? Goo pizza. Pizza. Okay. A nightmare. Warning! There will be war, child abuse, getting hit over the head, death, and a minor mention of cannibalism. Okay. As long as this has been reviewed. Thufus. Thufus. Once a beautiful planet that orbited a black hole, now reduced to a bloody and war-torn battlefield. Wow, a planet that orbits a black hole. What? Black holes are like pretty big, right? I feel like, don't we all orbit a black hole technically with the Milky Way galaxy? Anyway, now reduced to a bloody and war-torn battlefield. On the planet, it had been 50 long years since the Great Anomaly, or the Evanescence as the planet's inhabitants called it. Everyone was tired and worn out. They wanted the war to end, for there to be peace, but the mad king of Anasir, King Vesper Aurorus, could not give up this war, even if it meant making a weapon of mass destruction. I'm waiting for someone to pull out gravity weapons again. The fun dip is getting to me. The NyQuil is getting to you. That's what's happening. I snorted so hard, all the snot in my nose like went up into my brain. And it hurts. Even if it meant making a weapon of mass destruction. That's what Yuhima had thought to herself while she read the contents of a file she had found buried under 50 years. Oh, maybe the planet has different years, because I was gonna say. Read the contents of a file she had found buried under layers of military reports. The weapon that was mentioned in it was awful. Light is old. Yeah, but like, how can it be 50 years if it hasn't been... Is this in the future? From what was written, this weapon could potentially kill everyone who remained on the planet. I have to stop, Father, Yukimi muttered as she pushed herself away from the desk and stood up from the chair. She turned to leave the room when she saw one of her father's guards standing in front of the only door out of the room. Time works differently on our planet? Alright. Move, Yukima ordered, standing straighter out of instinct. The guard shook his head. I'm afraid that I cannot, Princess, he said, his grip on his warhammer tightening. His Majesty has ordered me to keep you from going to the battlefield. The younger dragon's heart skipped a beat. A cold dread washed over her. You cannot be seriously listening to him, the princess replied, her ears pinning themselves back. Don't you see? He's gone mad. He created a weapon that will kill all who is left on this planet. I have to... Enough of your lies, princess, the guard snapped. His tail lashed about behind him. He growled loudly, which made Yuukima scowl. Yeah. It was in 2491. Yes. And now it's 2498? So 7 years? Yeah. Not 50. So, I mean, like, that's why I was saying, like, maybe this planet rotates fast, or but no, because I'm confused, because if this planet goes around a black hole, how is it has to have a star, right? Otherwise, it's just dark all the time. And it can't, like, the years cannot pass faster if it's going around a black hole. So that's going to be way bigger than a star, right? I need answers. I'll keep reading while you math. I'm not lying, she snapped back. She walked towards the guard. And at this point, I do not care if you believe me. I just need you to... A blow to her head made her vision flash white. She crumpled to the ground just as her nose had begun to bleed. Another blow to the back of her head made her black out completely. Yukima woke later to the sounds of shouting, explosions, and metal grinding against metal. She forced herself to her feet. She stumbled a bit before she managed to catch herself and look up. If you're orbiting a black hole, it depends on how close you are, but there is a time dilation thing. The problem is it would work the other way. Time for you would move slow, but much more time passes for people not in orbit. Yeah. I feel like... Yeah. There's some science problems here. Is Light still awake right now? 50 years for Light could be like 2 million years for the rest of us. Yeah. If Light's still awake, could someone like ping her and be like, hey, question. She forced to herself. What if they're in a realm that works wonky? Maybe? I mean, like, I'm willing to just let this slide because whatever. People have whatever. Yeah, she might be sleeping. Virgil, would you place this in like a binary star system or the black hole being outside the solar system? The black hole, there's no way for a black hole to be in like a solar system without it just eating it pretty much immediately, right? Unless it's like a teeny tiny one. Maybe? If you're far enough away, there's little to no time dilation. Like a time bubble. That's true. This could be in the time bubble, you know? You never know. Light was in there with Mirage and Cypher. Okay, continuing. She was in the middle of a battlefield. Why had she... No, now isn't the time. She needed to stop her father. She started to walk forward, then she trotted, then she ran. Yuikima ran as fast as her legs could manage. She dodged the weapons of foes and allies alike. She used her magic to shield herself from explosions. The dragon was nearly there. She was nearly there. She just had to. A sharp pain in her leg made her cry out. She stumbled and leaned on the leg that didn't pain her. She looked and saw that an arrow stuck out of her leg. A curse escaped her lips. Yuikima limped the rest of the way to the weapon, to her father. "Father!" she called as she climbed up the steps of the platform. "Father, stop, please. This isn't you. You're better than this." Vesper turned and glared at his daughter, no ounce of love for her in her eyes. It was a sight she was used to. It didn't matter at that moment. "Father, please," Yuikima pleaded as she limped forward. She reached out towards Vesper, her hand shaking. The king scowled at her outstretched hand. He raised his hand and backhanded the girl, knocking her off her feet and onto the ground. "Shut up," he spat as he glowered down at his daughter. Then he starts to chuckle, a wide spreading across his face. "It is pathetic that you would actually try to stop me. What is a cursed child like you going to do?" Vesper's tail wrapped around Yuikima's arm and flung her into the middle of the platform. The landing sent a jolt of pain through her body, which made the young dragon yelp in pain. "Father, no," she cried out just as Vesper slammed his fist onto the activation button. Everything turned a blinding white. Then everything turned black. Yuikima awakes to silence. She slowly sat up, wincing as pain shot through her body. She looked around, her ears lowering when she saw nothing alive. Not even the plants or animals were spared such a cruel fate. Everything was dead. Yuikima took a deep breath and slowly stood. She tended to her injuries first before she returned to bury everyone she could. She didn't look into why she was the only one to survive. She didn't want to know. Because she's the main character. She simply took apart the weapon, buried the components, and burned the notes on how to make such a weapon so no one else could repeat this awful action. Then she got to work burying the dead. She had no idea how long she worked for. She had no idea how many she had buried. She knew she was growing hungry. She knew that she needed to eat. The dragon tried to make a garden. It failed. She ate the animals she could find, but there weren't many. She was so hungry. Surely one bite wouldn't. Light bolted up, a cold sweat clinging to her skin. She was trembling, her hands shaking as she raised them to cover her face. She took her hands away from her face to look around, noting the windows that looked out into the ocean, the metal, the blankets and pillows under her hands. She took a deep, shaky breath and slowly relaxed. It was a nightmare. She was on Solace in SUNC. She was alright. It was alright. "Fuck," she muttered and rubbed her face. "Why can't I have one peaceful nap?" She slowly climbed out of her nest and stretched until she heard her bones pop. Light left her room and climbed her way to the landing deck. She sat on the railing, staring out into the distance. "What you doing?" Light's ears flicked to the voice of Kron. Oh, that's right. They'd come for supplies. The food on the island waters and others investigating wasn't trusted to be good for their health. The two of them had volunteers to get more food supplies to make sure that there was trusted food to eat. Due to how long the trip was, they both needed time to rest before they could do much else, which led to Light taking a nap. "I'm just looking out across the ocean," she said softly. She winced when she heard how raspy her voice was. "Why?" Kron asked. They were on guard, likely still believing that she was Elia. Hadn't Dad informed everyone of Elia's death? Light thought. Did he forget to? I know I can't say anything because it's information I shouldn't know. After all, I was dead then. But who will tell Kron? "Hey!" Kron snapped, pulling the dragon from her thoughts. "Just stop mimicking my older sister. You won't gain any—" "I'm not Elia, Kron," Light said before Kron could finish. "Elia mimics what she sees, what she knows." She gestured to the gold scars. "Some of these markings are ones Elia hasn't seen before," she said, and therefore she couldn't have known that they were there. Before Kron could respond, Light continued. "And my tail. I hid that under layers of illusions. She would know that I had it." If I was Elia, I would look as I would have before I died. Do I look the same as I did then? She watched Kron take a moment to look over the dragon before they shook their head. Don't you understand? What don't you understand? How you back? Are you puppet? Fake? Light shook her head. No one explained what revival is, did they? She said softly. Revival? Kron questioned, stepping closer. Revival is when one person brings another person back from the dead with a spell or ritual, Light explained, like how Belios's gods had brought him back from the dead with such a spell, and how he had brought me back from the dead with a similar spell. Kron stared at the dragon in front of him for a long time. Light could sense they were still very frustrated by the entire thing. It's not fair, Kron mumbled. The dragon could hear the grief in their voice. If you always come back, why make me sad? The dragon swung her legs over the railing and stood up. She walked over and hugged Kron gently, planting her head on top of theirs. The creature fought her hold for a little bit, but soon gave up and flopped their face against her shoulder. They started to cry. Light could tell from the scent of salty tears. The dragon loosened her grip to allow Kron to adjust their mask, catching sight of their face briefly. She didn't look for long. She didn't want to. She was sure Kron didn't want people to see their face, and she'd respect that choice, even if the scars she saw made her heart twist painfully. She gave her sibling a gentle squeeze, wrapping her wings around them. I'm sorry, she murmured against Kron's head. I'm so sorry. They stayed like that for a while. Then Light released Kron so they could complete their task. For now, enough was said. They can speak more later. They needed to get food to the island. We have pizza time! Dun, 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 dun. Pizza! Pizza! Hello everyone, and welcome back to baking class. I see we have a lot more people this time. Some familiar faces. I guess I can't really technically call this a baking class because we're making pizza.
Pizza time.
It's not really baking, it's more of cooking. But it was a request, and I did end up getting Marcelo to join us. I'm sure he's an expert, right?
That's racist.
Is he known for pizza?
No. I guess I made an assumption. Okay, I've already prepared the dough and ingredients as usual because we don't want to be here for 2 hours. But what you're going to do first is grab your dough. And you're going to want to flatten it out, stretch it into a big round circle. I've seen people throw
losing it today.
It up in the air. That day. You could do that. That's kind of fun. And you can put it back down on your countertop when you're done with that.
For throwing it.
All right, there should be a bowl with ingredients. I also have placed tomato sauce and cheese on your counter. Go ahead and use that to decorate your pizza as you like. I do recommend putting sauce and cheese on first. You don't have to have sauce or cheese at all. You could just do ingredients if you'd like. But be creative, and then I'll get to the next step. Wild feather.
I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. Looking good. That's certainly creative.
How much cheese
Bailey's
is
sitting there.
Cheese?
It's so funny
There's
to me.
no such thing as too much cheese, in my opinion.
Measure with your heart. Got it.
So this is actually really easy. We're just gonna slide it into the oven. So go ahead and grab your dough with all of your decorations. You might want to use the tray to get it in there, unless it's particularly solid. Slide that in there. The oven is already preheated, so all we have to do is just wait about 10 minutes, and then the pizza will be done.
My pizza will
I think mine's smoking.
That doesn't look good. Hold on. I'm gonna take out your pizza and hope that it is Okay, there's no pizza in there. I'm so sorry.
I may have go-
I don't know if
What?
the oven was set to the wrong temperature or something, but it burned completely.
I may have turned it up. I'm hungry. I might have been a little
Why would you
impatient.
do that?
I thought you said put it in the oven for 475 for 10 minutes. I thought I could cook it faster if I put it in for 2
That's not
minutes
how
at
cooking
1,000
works.
degrees, okay?
1,000 degrees? How did
It's
you
not.
get it that? How did you get it that hot?
Well, I'll be honest. I thought you were gonna be
Um,
the one burning it today.
Okay, you can have some
Comment.
of my pizza.
I'm scared of you. Like, how do you cook? How do you make food? How do you eat?
well,
You might be a worse cook than Marcelo.
I kind of just...
You take...
That's saying a lot.
Take out?
I would like to say that I have made some decent meals before, okay?
Are you sure?
I'm just really
Are
hungry.
you sure that your taste buds aren't fried?
It reminds me of someone.
Okay.
Are you, is,
I'm undipping.
was that a joke about what's behind me right now?
Wait, what?
Comment! Balios is here! You can't make that joke!
I'm making a joke? How
Gosh, what is
my
wrong
daughter is
with
obsidian, okay? It's cool, I can make those jokes.
Okay, I think time has passed enough that we can take our pizzas out of the oven. Go ahead and grab them and place them on the counter, and I'll come over and we can check them out. Wow! Hey, our pizzas are pretty similar. This looks really good.
Yeah, I like mushrooms. The
That
cheese
is
is
a
very
lot of
goopy.
cheese.
I know. I kind of regret it, but at the same time, I don't.
That looks good. That looks
thank you.
delicious. Amazing.
Balios is just
I mean,
sobbing.
I wouldn't expect any less. Or I'm
Come
proud
on,
of you.
Freya. Don't do it.
This looks really good. I chose the same exact ingredients. Oh. You know, there is such a thing for, minimalism.
Yeah, I just thought, it was way too much cheese, so I took one Slim Jim and cut it into very thin pieces. Don't ask me how hard that was. And then I did one pepperoni.
That?
Oh wow, that is beautiful. You can put this in a food museum.
Oh. Yep.
God.
Why did you put that would explain why it set on fire. You put a whole pineapple on your pizza.
I mean, it's still on fire.
Yeah, it's still on fire. Why did you put an entire pineapple on your pizza? Why didn't you slice it?
You're supposed to slice it.
Maybe I think my instructions needed to be more detailed. Well, either way, some of us made great pizzas. Some of us may still need practice.
I think mine is delicious.
Your pizza should be cool enough to eat now, or spin. Marcella and Mira are really spinning their pizzas right now. Are there any suggestions for what we should make next week? Maybe going back to baking.
Cookies.
Can we teach the
Mine's spinning
captain how to make pancakes? I'm tired of eating burnt
Yo-
pancakes.
Okay, well, I'll come up with something that we can make next week.
I was about to say,
I don't think Marcelo is going to join any more of these because he had to make special time out of his schedule for this.
You can have breakfast at my
But
house.
thank you for joining.
I'm glad you're here.
I'll see you all next week.
Thank you. Thank you for
Bye-bye.
teaching us.
I'm taking this with me.
I have a delivery to make.
And I'm taking this as well.
What do you think about
I'm taking the
pineapple on
cheese as well.
Can we
Oh,
take the rest of the ingredients
violence!
home
Where
with
are
us?
you?
I
don't pizza that will kill God.
Miras. I don't think that'd be a good idea to call them over here.
I think that pizza could kill a Lumarin.
Well, that was a shocking experience.
Right, we need to go back to IHOP sometime.
IHOP?
Uh-huh.
I was out of character.
Oh.
we're
Boo! I hate violence! Boo!
Where's my thing? Certified violence the Cloud Eater! Boo! Okay. Hello? Why is it? What? Why? Hold on. Alright, sorry. My stream deck just stopped working. Alright. This is from Oliver. Upon exploring the buildings around this island... Oh, this is, Is this about the island? The island? Maybe? There was a set of books tucked away in the nooks of one of the kitchens. One of the books labeled How to Keep Hydrated. While I presume they mean fish, how to keep fish hydrated. Part of me hoped for 1 second that it was another Selkie who owned this book. Whilst I know that isn't true, and I know that I have frog and feathers, so I'm not the only Selkie, I just felt that swell of hope that I would get to swim around once more with someone of my own kind. That maybe, perhaps, I would get to share the feeling of the ocean on my fur again, to dance on the waves with another once more. Wishful thinking, I know. Aw, poor Oliver. Zephyr's future plans. Okay, there's like 7 things left. My voice is giving out. We're approaching 3 hours. Give it up for hour 3! Okay. After weeks of wandering the planet alone, most of the other survivors had gotten on shuttles and taken off. Others were killed, mainly by people crazed about losing loved ones and the vanishing. Zephyr found a quiet ruin to stay in. There was a fire already lit, and he had plenty of food to roast over the fire. But his peace in the ruin was well ruined. He heard footsteps, not like the crazed ones he would hear from other people. Thank you! Virgil the chef. Kraft mac and cheese. Oh, 6-7! 6-7! Not really. It's easy. Don't! Just, look, I'm streaming. Ignore everything that I do when I'm streaming. Thank you. Virgil is judging me. How dare he? He was more elegant, like a royal or a leader. As Zephyr began to investigate, he saw a figure walking towards the flame from a hall. He immediately hid behind a pillar. He saw a tall lady walk towards the flame. She was in a dark blue dress, and she had floating gears over her head that spun like a clock. On her wrist were elegant bracelets. Then there were more footsteps. 2 men walking side by side. One had antlers and a face of a skull. The other had a normal-looking face besides the flaming eyes. Then a lady appeared, all dressed in black, holding a scythe. Then another man, smaller than the others, built... I am not saying that. He was holding a staff. The top of the staff was a wooden hand with an eye in the palm. Zephyr was watching as they all talked and surrounded the flame. He heard their names. Clock Girl was Sethos. Flaming Eyes was Venos. Scully was Malice. The black dress was Romus. And the other was Fanan. And the branch was the Watcher. As Zephyr watched them, he suddenly remembered his studies. These were the lesser gods. The Chaos Bringers. He immediately assumed that they were at fault for the vanishing. He got out of his hiding spot and ran at them, yelling at them about how terrible they are for making people lose their loved ones. Sethos looked at him first. She didn't blame the mortal for assuming, but she hated that he had to experience this. She tried to explain that it wasn't them, that people all over the cosmos were going missing. But Zephyr wasn't listening. He blamed them for all the harm they caused, all the bloodshed before the vanishing. That's when Sethos didn't have an excuse, because it was true. But after Zephyr was done yelling, he realized that none of these gods were angry at him. They looked guilty, or tried to at least. Romus couldn't care less about this mortal's feelings. Sethos sat Zephyr down and began to explain everything that had happened. From when they were created until this point. About how they strayed from the path because the primordials wished was about order and not choice. People would have to do whatever the primordials put in their head. whether they have a choice about who they are, what they are, or wanted to do. She said that this event wasn't part of any god. In fact, they didn't know who did it. Zephyr was suspicious at first, but he decided to just deal with it. He was still pissed about everything, but the gods decided to help him, and for the next 6 years they stayed with him, teaching him new abilities and telling them stories. Romus would often talk about a boy named Balios and how she'd scare him in his nightmares or make him see things. Most of the gods were annoyed at this Balios, saying that he was too immature to be a god. He never heard good things about him, especially hearing that he was a bloodhound, which made him remember the wars his family died in because of that kingdom. You put a thing about Virgil in general? Hold on, I want to see this.
I am cooking. I am the cooker. I am the chef. I cook. I am the cooker. I cook. Yes. Yes, I am the chef.
The fuck?
How is... Oh, it's because he made the mac and cheese. I was like, how is that Virgil? But yeah, it's true. Then, 6 years after the vanishing, the gods said they were going to finally make Balios ascend to godhood. They were joking about how funny it would be to make him believe that he actually ascended to godhood. Zephyr didn't really hear about the joke, but the fact is, if Balios became a god, he would be just like his father, violent. So he decided to look through God's library while they were planning stuff. He heard the voices of all of them above, as he found a summoning spell, a useful one at that. When the third trial arrived, Sethos took Balios to the Blood Ruins, while the other took Zephyr to a hiding spot. Then they joined the other two. Zephyr watched as Sethos talked to Balios. That's when Zephyr pulled out the book and began chanting. And then the sigil appeared in the sky. That's when Zephyr left. He knew it would get bloody and he didn't want to watch. He went back to the gods' ruins. After hours, 3 returned holding 3 soul gems. Zephyr didn't know that the primordial would kill the gods, and then he learned that Balios escaped. He was pissed. The next few months, Zephyr designed himself the outfit he would wear to seek revenge on Balios. What a diva! A large green cloak with the sigils of the divine woven into the seams. Not coming up with a plan. Planning an outfit for months. He still had 1 spear from Zion, but needed more. Malice gave him 2 more. They were Venos's. Sethos gave him a mask so that his face wouldn't be seen before leaving. He secretly snatched the soul gems of the dead gods. He was going to head back to the ruins to see if there was any way to get to Balios. He flew for weeks searching the ruins, which were a dead end, so he searched everywhere he could, until one day he reached the ruins of the Bloodhound Kingdom, and at the entrance of the ruins a portal opened, and someone flew out before vanishing. And then he flew down in front of the portal and he saw him, his target. He stepped through the portal, ready to kill. Now, 2 months later, he walks into the church of MTK, ready to give a speech that he believes is the best for the community here. Welcome, people of MTK. I'm glad to inform you that I've set up a few new safety measures built on the ones made by the Keepers of Solace. Hey! He paused to look around the room. There weren't as many people as at the last meeting. Some had different opinions about him being the leader, but he didn't care. Now that you all have someone willing to protect your community, I've set up some guards who will patrol the area of MTK. No, these are not people, because that would mean we'd have to pay someone to train them. Instead, I have made a group of golems. As he finished the word golem, 6 golems walked out from the back of the stage and beside Zephyr before walking off and standing to the sides of the church. These are golems that hold no parasitic or anything that can infect others within them. They are simply beings that follow rules. And speaking of rules, when February 1st hits, this faction will be locked down. No one in, no one out. We may have seen some calm days, but that does not dismiss the fact of 3 criminals roaming around. We will have a medical station and a market for all of the necessities needed. He looked at his notes before clearing his throat and looking back up at everyone. Another rule, curfew. The Keepers of Solace have already put out a curfew. Everyone knows not to be out past it. But if you are caught out over 5 minutes past curfew, you will be taken to a cell and in the morning transferred to the Keepers for questioning. That is all. Zephyr stepped down from the pedestal, and he watched as everyone left. Before he made the 6 guards go and do their job, he then went down to the crypt to build more golems. Alright. Who are the 3 criminals? My guess is probably, Okul, Violence, and Eclipse. Alright, we can get through this. Like father, like daughter. This is an Okul document. Violence, death, parental issues. So real. I knew where he'd be. I could feel it. It was foolish of Akena to strengthen our ties. He only ushered in his own demise. Despite my confidence, my heart still pounded in my chest. This would be the first time I'd be really seeing him since I had left for that battle oh so many years ago. The wooden stairs to the now abandoned settlement, New Harmonia, creaked under the weight of my body, my boots loudly thumping with each step. The buildings around me echoed the memories of when I first arrived, of when my name was unknown to these people, when I was not hunted like a monster. So the blind executioner has finally arrived, the figurehead of the false house. The voice hung like a sick joke in the air, trying to torment me. Hello, Okana. I see you've finally found the confidence to speak with me, on even ground. I answered back, trying to hide the anxiety that filled me up inside. Oh, me finding confidence. I've been hunting you down since I came to this weak little world, but every time I find you, you either run away or are incapacitated. He laughed as he spoke, seeing himself as above. Of course he did. He was always so egotistical. The only one who will be incapacitated is you after I've finally removed you from this world. It is mine to claim, in the name of the true divine god you falsely claim as your own. My hands itched for the blade strapped to my person as I spoke, but I refrained for now. You still don't understand, do you, Okul? I cannot lose. The gods have favored me. They helped me. My sacrifices were accepted with open arms. They brought you to me like a lamb to the slaughter. He pushed his cloak to the side ever so slightly, revealing his dreaded blade. You speak with confidence that you should not have, and you desecrate the names of those you claim to worship. I'll give you one more chance, Okana. Submit yourself to my blade before I have to cut you down with force. His heresy began to wear down at my patience. I wanted a final end to this whole thing. I wanted Okana to finally be gone. He simply laughed as he slowly removed the trench cloak he had so often worn, revealing underneath it the entirety of his blade on his hip, pants rugged and fitting of the environment he knew he would have to endure, and on his upper half, scrappy black wrappings and other coverings that almost wouldn't qualify as a shirt. His right hand was planted solidly on his sword hilt, and he finally stopped laughing. And then, in an instant, his sword had been drawn, and he had closed the no less than 10-foot distance between us. With no time to react, I drew Freya's Ruin. Oh, I love that sword name so much! And defended myself from his attack. Our swords clashed, and they remained locked as he seemed to be almost sizing me up. So, you really are willing to draw your sword against me, Okul. Surprising. Nothing is surprising about it, Okana. My blade will taste your blood. I hoped I wasn't bluffing. The agony from Okana's blade had begun to seep into mine, red streaks leaching into my metal from the point of contact. What's that little scar you have there, Okul? A keepsake from the hospital? What, you couldn't defend yourself against a measly doctor? His mockery was enraging. I yelled loudly in an effort to drown him out, pushing my blade against his even harder and forcing him backward by no less than 2 feet. He took no time at all to making another lunge with his blade, one I barely reacted in time to. I turned to my side as it pierced the air. The blade made a small cut on my lower left side of my torso, and through that small cut I could feel the agony and suffering of those he had sacrificed to get here. I even felt Salatian suffering. My hand instinctually wants to pressure the wound and mitigate the pain, but I can't let him know it affected me. I cannot show weakness. Not here, not now. Okana launched strikes at me again and again, each one barely deflected as I kept getting pushed back further and further towards the walls that surrounded New Harmonia. What's wrong, Okul? Where's the ego? Where's the pride? Where's the executioner I raised as my own? He said in between every slash and lunge with his blade. You didn't raise me, you monster. You groomed me to be your killer. I could barely speak as I focused on his attacks, but I wouldn't miss the chance for a rebuttal. Then where is that killer? Softened by this planet, no doubt, and to think you believed the divine god to be on your side? All it took to find you was some help from a one-eyed ghost and a measly sacrifice to the gods who have chosen me alone as their patron to get you at your weakest. A ghost. The one with Croy, I said softly under my breath as I continued defending my person, my blade now being almost entirely red from the abuse it has endured. The thought process distracts me, and in an instant my sword is flung from my hands as my back is finally pushed up against the wooden wall. Your time has run out, Okul. Surely you would have known this would happen soon. Drop to your knees. Your death will be quick. I could think of only one thing to do. I dropped to my knees as Okana's blade rested softly on my shoulder, ready to relish in Warden's suffering. It seems you finally accepted that the gods, that Divinitas, has chosen me as their patron. Smart girl. Any last words, Okul Skullcath? My right hand gravitates towards the blade still sheathed on my hip, concealed from Okana's sight. I do not need the favor of gods to put you down, Okana. My words are laced with malice. I don't give him a chance to react before the sword of blight is drawn, pushing up against his own blade, my legs pushing upward to overpower force he has applied against me. Why can't you just learn to quit, you stupid war... He stopped and looked at his blade. From the point of contact with the Sword of Blight, Okaina's blade had begun to rust and rot rapidly. What is this trickery? These people may be weak. I pushed harder against his blade, watching it crack and shrivel, becoming nothing more than a cheap replica of what it once was. But they have some useful magic. His sword completely fell apart from the rust and decay, leaving nothing but a fancy hilt and single wide-eye expression on his face. I planted the Sword of Blight into the ground beside me and began to approach Okaina. Come on now, Okul. Is this really necessary? I'm your father. I raised you as my own. Come on, be a little forgiving here. He begged and pleaded as he tried to step backward, tripping over his feet and falling. It didn't stop him from frantically dragging himself backward away from me, but it wasn't fast enough. I quickly made up the distance and grabbed him by the shoulder, picking him up and raising him to be at eye level with me. His expression, I could see it even under the mask, was terrified. His eye was wide and his pupil was small. I threw him at the wall he had backed me up to, hearing a loud crack and watching him slump over for a second before his head raised back up to look at me. I relished the fear in his eyes. I approached him once more and picked him up. Okul, this is barbaric. Let me go. I'll leave. His speaking was nauseating, and I wanted to make it stop. And after 28 years of living under Okaina, I finally found the words to speak up. I felt them well up in my throat like a gun ready to go off. A warden's birthright. I screamed. His mask cracked. Glass lens shattered. I screamed again. The mask was gone, leaving only his disfigured face. No skin, jawbones completely exposed. It had been like that before today, and I did not take joy in seeing it again. So I screamed again, and again, and again, and I did not stop until I had gotten out the last 3 decades of sorrow and misery that man had put me through. I dropped the unrecognizable corpse in front of me. It would have no place in my new empire. Same with the old gods. They backed a losing horse, and now it is only me who is left. I picked both of my blades and left New Harmonia, a new target in mind. He had helped Okaina, and anything left of Okaina was deserving of a death sentence. Kron, count your date. Kron! No! 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 I said I liked Okul better than Violet. No, you can't hurt baby Kron! No, they're my favorite. No! Also, this is the coolest, most badass thing I've ever read. Holy shit. Kron, no! What is this? Is this Croy? Wait, what? Oh, it's Croy! You could not resist one more leash tug, could you? One more mission before you were dragged away from your command over her to whatever pits a soul like you crawled your way out of. Copper. That was the name they gave you. They liked you. You knew that. And you just threw them out there. Blaming them for your own choices. Was it because of me? Could you not have been the almighty prophet you posed yourself to be and just dealt with me yourself? No. You revealed the colors of your cowardice in your last moments. A part of me wishes I was the cause. I do not have the time I thought I would. She will arrive soon. Blinded by rage to erase every inch of her father from the surface of this planet. If I do not make it, I was at least glad I took the chances to see my daughter and son one more time before. I hope they understand. My child will be protected, Okaina, and I will meet you in hell. Croy was watching the whole time? Oh my god. Oh my god. If Croy or Kron die, I'm killing you, CJ. If Zinnia dies, if Croy and Kron... Dude, these are my favorite characters. This is like, holy shit, what is going on? Oh my god. Okay, and on top of all that, we have this, by the way.
The people here seem to be constructing a ship. I could see the frame, some basic instrument panels, but nothing else. I only spotted him once. Unfortunately, he seems to be a bit of a recluse. which explains why I didn't see him anywhere else. Security here is better than other places, which doesn't help. I'll have to get creative.
It's very true. I love seeing things amp up because we had like December, January has been a very like, this is like getting to the climax of everyone's arcs. It's so fun to see. But yeah, we have Eclipse. Eclipse somewhere where they're constructing a ship. Well, we already know where she is. She's near Arcturus Land. Alright, we have a few more things. This was technically after the stream, but sure, I'll watch it. Whatever. The diagnosis from Loki. I promise this is the last flashback. I knew that something was wrong with me before the doctors did. It began with my hands. They trembled like they were recalling some earthquake my body had forgotten. Then my feet disagreed with the floor. Walking had become translating a language that I once knew fluently, but now I struggle with every sentence. By the time I had reached the hospital, my laughter had joined the rebellion. It wasn't the happy kind of laugh. It wasn't the amused kind. It was the kind that resulted from a loose wire firing off in the wrong place. It escaped from me in the waiting room. It escaped from me when the nurse asked my name. I tried to swallow it, but it came out away, thin and sharp, like glass breaking through my teeth. Good night, CJ. I will threaten you in your DMs. Bad night, actually. Bad night. And bad night to you, Okul. Freaking Astra. Bad night to Okul, too. I'm not laughing, I said, gasping. She nodded, unbelieving, but her eyes lingered on me like how your eyes linger on a stain that you can't remember. The exam room was white. It was too white, I thought. On the wall, the human brain had been drawn in neat colors, every section labeled and confident. Mine wasn't like that brain. My brain was like a library after an earthquake. The books were there, but none of them had their proper place. The doctors arrived in waves, one at a time, then in pairs. They asked me to smile, to follow their finger, to walk in a straight line that seemed to constantly shift away from me. I didn't succeed. I laughed again, suddenly, awfully, and one of them flinched, then caught themselves. They used words like anxiety, infection, atypical, words that sounded like umbrellas, good in the rain, useless in a flood. In between the tests, I felt myself unraveling. Not dying, not exactly, unraveling. As though my body was learning to forget the bargain it had made with me. My brain slid sideways. My hands no longer felt like mine. Even my silence felt precarious, ready to shutter open at any moment and leash laughter once again. And then they stopped talking to me, standing around the monitor, their voices low. I was furniture, a coat rack with a pulse. I looked at the reflections in the glass, the way that their faces folded in on themselves, the way that their faces looked at me with fear, and then one of them said it. Kill? Something else? It sounded like a stone dropped into water, small, quiet, but with ripples. The temperature in the room shifted. One of them shook his head immediately. That doesn't fit, he said. It fits too well, another said. But it shouldn't exist, said the first. They spoke of history, of rarity, of impossibility, of ghost stories, of a man 10 feet away whose legs had forgotten they had to hold him up. I wanted to interrupt, to ask what it meant for me, for my future, for the way my laughter felt like a stranger living in my lungs. But something in me stayed still. Maybe I already knew the answer wouldn't be kind, so I listened. I listened while my hands trembled. I listened while my smile twitched into something that didn't belong to me. I listened as the doctors circled the truth, careful not to touch it, afraid it might attack them. Finally, one of them turned back to me, voice soft, eyes honest in a tired way. We need more time, they said. More tests. Time. The word felt ironic. Time was the one thing that I could feel slipping through me, grain by grain, the hourglass of life. They finally left me alone. The room felt enormous. The machines hummed softly as they were whispering secrets to one another. I laughed again, quietly this time, and let it happen. Fighting it felt pointless, like trying to hold water in my fists. I placed my trembling hand on my chest and felt my heart beat steadily on, loyal and unaware of the quiet catastrophe unfolding above it. The crash didn't feel like anger. I was still in the hospital, but no longer contaminated by it. Oh, contained by it. They'd let me walk the halls with supervision, as if motion might remind my body what it was for. The corridor stretched endlessly. The sound arrived late, faces smeared slightly at the edges. Everyone looked like they were underwater apart from me, and I couldn't tell if that meant I was drowning or if I was already gone. The laughter came without warning. It ripped out of my chest, violent and sharp, bending me forward. I grabbed the railing, knuckles screaming, vision tunneling. Someone asked if I was okay. Their voice reached me, warped, slowed. I'm fine, I said, but the words came out wrong, slurred, misaligned, not mine anymore. Something in me fractured. Not snapped, but fractured. My thoughts scattered. There was no sequence, no hierarchy, just impulses floating loose, bumping into each other. Sensation without meaning, motion without cause. I remember hands. I don't know whose. Just hands. Too close, too loud. A touch meant to steady me had landed wrong, registered as threat instead of help. My brain misfiled it, stamped it danger, rang an alarm no one else could hear. I moved before I knew I had decided to. There was shouting, not mine though. My mouth was already on their throat. A body fell, a sound like a breath being knocked out of a chest, then not returning properly. I was aware of a weight, of a resistance, of something irreversible crossing a line that I could no longer see. When it stopped, the laughter stopped too. The silence afterwards was immense. I stood facing downwards, hands trembling, staring at someone who would not look back at me. Their stillness felt louder than any scream. Blood, way too real, too red, spread slowly, patiently, like it had all the time in the world. I didn't feel victorious. I didn't feel relieved. I felt present in a way I hadn't in days, and that terrified me more than anything. People rushed in, hands grabbed me again, but this time I didn't fight. My body went slack, cooperative, as if the part of me capable of resistance had already burned out. Someone was crying. Someone else was swearing. I watched it all from behind glass. They didn't mean to, a voice said. He's sick, another answered. It was sudden. They were right, and they were wrong. I meant nothing at all. Later, restrained, sedated, wrapped in apologies that came too late, I lay staring at the ceiling again. The same ceiling, the same light, as if nothing had changed, but something had. Make sure to mark warnings on stuff for violence like that. We have a rather unfortunate night. I think I already downloaded this in advance. Yeah, I did. Okay, well, no, hold on. Whatever, it opened here. This is Lynx's POV. December 8th, 1:42 a.m. Hey, Sam, wake up. Run command set alarm, 1:49 a.m. 1:52 a.m. What the hell do you want now? There's a ball event tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. That's great, not going. Oh, come on, I thought you loved winter and Christmas events. Too many people, too many incidents happening back to back with other events. And aren't those events celebrated by couples? Didn't we read this already? I think we read this conversation already. Yeah, we'll just go down here. Chapter 1, the ball. Just as expected, right? Lynx would stare at the screen after sending the last message to Sam, staring past the screen and at his own reflection. You should tell him. No, it's fine. It won't be fine. Something will go wrong. You don't know that. You do. You know something is going to happen. Then I'll pray it doesn't. Pray to who? Doesn't matter. I'll pray something doesn't happen. Lynx would turn off the computer on the table, staring at his own reflection on the screen properly. I have plans to finish. I need to make progress before the event. Okay. Just don't say I didn't warn you. Lynx would go upstairs to get supplies to finish making security systems in his house. He would be walking around the market looking for supplies before suddenly stopping. I'm forgetting something. What is it? He would look around, trying to remember before spotting a poster advertising the ball. Right, the ball. How much time do I have? Oh, 5 minutes. Okay, I need to go. Lynx would step into the building, which had a warm and inviting atmosphere, before noticing the guards at the entrance staring at them for a moment. Aw, there's no way they expect that to be the protection. He would laugh to himself. Oh man, we are so screwed. They would continue laughing, walking fully inside the ball before looking around, before spotting Vire and their friends walking over to them. After some time, Lynx would look around to see if Sam had arrived yet, before spotting Sam at a table in a less populated area of the ball. He actually arrived. Lynx would excuse himself before looking for an optimal route where he could efficiently make his way over without being seen by him wanting to surprise Sam. After finding a route, he would start walking, making his way towards Sam, before eventually reaching his destination, standing behind Sam for a moment before placing a hand on his shoulder, feeling Sam tense and jolt. Please use commas. Grabbing a glass for what he assumed was for self-defense before finally turning around and looking at him, Lynx assuming that Sam was glaring at him. You. Now that ain't no way to greet a friend, is it now? We're not friends. Do that again, I swear I'll... Lynx would let out a short laugh, interrupting Sam, choosing to ignore what he said, despite feeling slightly hurt by the statement. Geez, don't lose your head. He would decide to change the topic of the conversation, wanting to know how Sam is feeling here after not having gone to a public event for a while. How's the ball treating you? Fine. Lynx would watch Sam sit back down, slightly tense, before holding his hand out to Sam, wanting to shake his hand. Good to hear. Nice to see you face to face after all this time. He would watch Sam stare at his hand for a moment before looking back up at him. Can't say the same. Lynx would look at him for a moment, processing that Sam refused to shake his hand, before awkwardly putting his hand back to his side. Right. Lynx would say, slightly disappointed. I'm gonna go back over to Vire. Have fun. Lynx would turn around before starting to walk back to where he was. Sure. Lynx would be by himself at a table writing in a book, listing supplies he needed for projects and to replace old wiring before pausing, looking up to see someone he doesn't recognize entering the ball with a box. Before looking back down at the book, thinking nothing of it. Well, I mean, like, people would recognize Nikta. I mean, maybe not. Nobody really sees the, freaking Thalisker Sky people. Lynx would put down the book, looking around at the ball again. Nothing seemed off, and no one had died yet, which was surprising to Lynx. That's strange. Usually something should have happened by now. Maybe my predictions are wrong. He would be cut off by a sudden blinding flash of light erupted from the middle of the ballroom as a loud boom followed. A warning flashed in front of him, warning of the intense heat levels before the systems of the machine he was piloting shut down temporarily. Burned wires and steel. Can a body without a soul really be called alive? After a moment, the screen would flicker on as systems rebooted. There were multiple warnings regarding him of dangerous heat levels, falling debris, a damaged optics system, and damaged limbs. He would find himself now underneath the table he was previously sat down at, now on the ground, against the wall, pushing the table off himself and getting up, noticing that his left leg and right arm was cracked and damaged, his leg having a few exposed wires and his arm sparking a bit. That's going to be a pain to fix. I liked these clothes, too. He would look around at the chaos that filled the ball. Fire was spreading everywhere, walls had collapsed, tables and furniture flipped and scattered around, and bodies. Some were trapped under debris and others too injured to get up. Well then, guess something did happen. Lynx would look around at before spotting Sam just in time as a wooden support beam fell and smashed his head in. The totem he was holding went off, bringing him back almost instantaneously. Totems of undying being... Yeah, it's kind of funny. With a gasp, the totem having moved him next to the pillar where there was still a pool of blood under the pillar where his head was. Lynx would walk over to where Sam carefully, not wanting to damage the machine he was controlling anymore, walked past a severed arm on the ground, glancing at it for a moment before going on. He'd stop right behind him, staring at him for a moment, contemplating something before leaning down to Sam's shoulder. Boo! He would watch Sam flinch before yelling at him. Damn it, stop doing that, you bloody excuse for binary. Lynx would let out a short laugh, standing upright. Come on, lighten up, will ya? Lighten up? Sam interrupted. Look around. Does this look like a laughing matter? I mean, not really, no, but you do have to admit this is a tad funny. I mean, like, events like these have been happening back to back, so I honestly was sort of expecting something like this to happen. Sam would interrupt him again as Lynx watched him stand. Expecting? You were expecting for this to happen? Are you mad? You seriously came here knowing something was going to happen and did nothing about it? You brought me here knowing something was going to happen. What is wrong with you? Lynx would get nervous, seeing that it may not have been too smart to say what he said with the current situation. I came back to questions about Light's planet. I'm going to create a lore about it and answer questions about it as best I can. Thank you! That would be helpful. I'm just, like, I'm a big sci-fi nerd, so I'm, like, trying to figure out how it works. Geez, calm down. You act like I've done this before. Because you have, multiple times before. You took control of my body for weeks, sometimes months on end against my will last year. You made a cure that half worked and disappeared, abandoning me and Alfie, who died, but not before nearly risking my life while leaving. Well, I mean, I'm not done. Lynx would fall silent when Sam cut him off. Sam began yelling. I'm so sorry. Sorry, stop. Sorry, stop. EM gone even real? Inside the coded void Lynx made where he manages and pilots the machine. Lynx would be panicking and looking around at the now distorted systems and code that made him, trying to process the overwhelming information and internal struggle occurring inside his mind, not understanding what or why he is feeling. Pain? Just then he would hear a crack. He would look around the void, looking for where the noise came from, before pausing and looking down at himself. There, leading up from his right hand to his upper left torso, was a long crack with a white light coming from it. His digital form was starting to crack under the pressure of trying to handle an overwhelming amount of emotion it wasn't made for, which had happened once before in the past. After all, it never planned for him to gain sentience. He would stare at the crack for a long moment, his mind beginning to blank out as he looked back at Sam, who had now stopped yelling. Staring at him, Lynx couldn't help but snicker, letting out a stifled laugh as he began to laugh hysterically. This unexpected action seemed to confuse Sam. Are you seriously laughing? His voice would get frustrated. Why can't you take anything seriously, damn it? Lynx would get grabbed by the collar. I just realized I turned off the music. Hold on. Yeah. Okay. For one moment, can you not be so fucking heartless? Lynx, however, was unable to acknowledge what he said at the moment, continuing to laugh, which frustrated Sam further. Stop laughing. I said stop laughing, damn it. Lynx kept laughing until he felt a tug on his sleeve, looking over to see Kron yelling at both him and Sam in a language where a few seconds of his system's bugging translated to be Gelga. Move! Move, 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 Croy said to get people out. I get you out. Kron would finally speak in English, stamping their hoof feet on the ground, almost causing Lynx to collapse since his left leg was damaged. After seeing Sam start to move with Kron, he would follow suit, going the direction he was being pulled, staggering as they moved. He would only glance around at the destruction that filled the ball to avoid any falling rubble. A loud crash was then heard as a warning popped up in front of Lynx. Noticing the screen starting to static, a warning, bug out, which he only experienced during faction meetings, looking over at where the noise came from, hearing a muffled, distorted voice. Kron, look to your left. Once his eyes landed on the source of the noise, he would simply stare at what he saw, unsure if he was really seeing this. There, standing on top of the rubble, back arched slightly as a strange, tar-like substance twisted and slithered through the air, spreading out across the ceiling, keeping it from collapsing entirely. Exiting from their chest and eye was someone he just barely recognized. It looked like Croy, only much more distorted in appearance, but that was impossible, right? They were supposed to be dead, right? Well, no, obviously, they were, since they were obviously not living, but it was still slightly shocking since he's never really seen what he assumed to be a spirit. Geez, if this was how someone looked spiritually, how after death, he was glad he wasn't mortal. He would stare for a moment before realizing something. Fire. He would look away, taking his chance that no one was watching him as he quietly but urgently moved back further into the ball. He would look around trying to spot Fire in this hellscape, passing several people on the ground, unconscious or not breathing. Fire. Fire, where are you? We gotta slip before the roof gives like the Titanic. Fire? He would call out, starting to get impatient and nervous. Come on, seriously, we should really go. Where are you? He would continue looking around, unable to find Fire, before almost tripping over something as he looked back at the ground before stopping. There on the ground laid a broken gray computer which had belonged to an android Fire lived inside of. No, please. He would fall onto his knees in front of the computer, staring at the computer. Okay, he let out a short laugh. This is a really funny joke, but come on, please get up, please. This can't happen, please. He would start to breathe heavily. You've been through worse. Come on, please don't do this. Not now, please. Please, you can't. No, that's not. He would laugh. Come on, you're fine. Just get up. Please get up. Tell me you're... He would look around, knowing the building wasn't going to hold much longer as he got up, backing away from the computer. I can't. You're lying. Please tell me you're lying. Don't go. Please not now. You're all I have left. Come on, wake up. He would start to laugh again, not wanting to accept or understand that Fire was most likely gone. He looked around before making his way up to the part of the wall that seemed damaged and weak as he kicked it with his right leg, cracking the wall a bit as he kicked it again repeatedly with more force each time until it gave way, leaving a small opening he could get through. He would crawl through the opening, still laughing to himself as he made his way back home, ignoring the burning building behind him. Subchapter 2.5, an idea. The beginning of a plan. Need some mac and cheese real quick. After a while, he'd eventually arrive back home. He would receive a low power warning as he almost fell, his left leg almost giving out. Damn machine. He would go through the entrance to his house, going down the tunnel. After going down some stairs, he would arrive at the main area of his house as he went to go down a ladder. A lot of going down. Are you okay? Lynx would stop, looking to his left and staring at the reflection in the aquarium he has. I don't have time for you. He would look back, going down the ladder and heading down a hallway. More going down. I saw what happened. I just want to check because... Shut up. He would turn the corner, going down another hall as he entered another room. Listen, I just want to know if you're alright. I understand it must be hard after what happened, especially after losing Fire. Lynx would stamp his right foot against the ground, interrupting the voice. I'm fine. Fire isn't dead, and I am fine, so shut up. Okay, I'll leave you be for now. He would climb up another ladder before pushing a button, entering a hidden area in his house, and the entrance closes behind him. I can't think with all this damn noise around me. He would walk up a rather large screen with a control console, the lights dim with the screen emitting a faint green light. He would stare at the screen for a moment before letting out a frustrated sigh. Too many things happening out there. Not enough time. I need more time. Time. He would think for a moment before getting what he thought was a marvelous idea. That's it. I'll create someone to help so I have time to finish my projects. Wait, but no. Creating an entire series of code to make a helper takes time and skill. I could just take an already existing entity and rewrite its code, but from what? He would look around for a moment before spotting a security camera he installed in the corner of the ceiling. Oh, you will do. He would walk up to the camera. I will call you... I'll run a command to spit out a random name. He would pull up his systems, running a random name command. After a few seconds, the command would give him... whatever this is. Right, forgot you were still a bit buggy. Oh well, never the matter. He would put away the system, looking back at the camera. I will call you Otto. Yes, indeed. You and I are going to do great things together. I can feel it. Alright. And then we have a couple feather videos and we are good to go.
Get to Del Taco. They got a new thing called free shavacadoo. Free shavacadoo.
Wake me up inside. I can't wake up, wake me up and save me.
Yep. This is a bucket. Can I get a waffle? Can I please get a waffle?
Did you wash the dishes?
I thought you wanted to do that.
You were wrong.
La 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 la, la 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 la, almost.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
Feather, I love you, but I don't think this needs to be in Lore Tuesday. This goes in memes. I'll still watch these. But they kind of just belong in memes, because this doesn't progress your character at all. It is funny. It's very funny. It's for the future.
Give it to me, I get no sleep cause of y'all. Y'all not gonna get a sleep cause of me.
I wanted to be a cowboy, baby. I wanted to be a cowboy, baby. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Target.
That's crazy, by the way. That's also crazy.
What are you?
An idiot sandwich.
Idiot sandwich what?
An idiot sandwich, Chef Ramsay.
Alright. Cool. That's Lore Tuesday, folks. I don't think we have any lore sheets. Yeah. We already read it. Alright. I'll see y'all maybe Thursday for baking. If not, next Tuesday or whatever. Anyway, bye.